Welcome back, everyone, to Red Spotlight. I'm Alexis, and I'm joined for the first time in a very long time by two individuals who recently were downgraded to guest stars, only because of their, inability to appear on this podcast quite frequently. The first of which happens to be professional asshole Peter Martinez. How are you doing today, Peter? And then also we have the creator of the Red Spotlight Entertainment Network, which includes such podcasts as this one, Fantasy Fair, To the Table, Turn the Page, and many others. Kyle Lira is back with us for the first time since July 2023. Kyle, where the fuck have you been?
He is not here, unfortunately. He is not here. It is your good old president, Donald Trump. He's right here to take his place.
Okay. Are you two doing okay? Happy to be here. Per Kyle's request, we were doing a podcast at basically 9 in the morning. And for those of you who have followed us for a long time, we have not done podcasts like these since probably the days of BVS, when we would do early morning podcasts.
Let me tell you something. It's good to be back. It's good to be back. Honestly, with us recording in the morning, it alleviates my radio DJ dreams. So I feel like I'm living my best life right now. I know you guys prefer to do it at midnight, but that's just me.
I mean, your version of midnight. It has nothing to do with us that you decided to have a bedtime at, 7 p.m.?
I'm on teacher schedule.
Okay, you see, that wasn't even a denial, people. 7 p.m. is usually, we haven't even started doing a podcast yet. So there's that.
And then you guys end at 1 o'clock in the morning. And
Yes. Peter Martinez, anything to offer besides the fact that you like Poor Things and you refuse to change that background, even though we're not going to talk about Poor Things today on this podcast. But I want to make sure the viewers understand that from an aesthetic standpoint, I do my best, but these people just can't, they can't. And in fact, they stomp their feet. I'm sorry, Peter can't. He's just a belligerent child and just refuses to cooperate because it seems to be that a part of his presence, in my life anyway, is to just vex me in whatever way imaginable. And I try and make sure everybody has good background.
Peter, you're doing a fantastic job.
What job? What job is he doing? The only person that does any real work on this show is David.
Thank you, David, by the way. The very next time we are rewarded with any sort of monetary gain, you're getting a raise.
Yeah, we might need to hand out some pick slips too. Anywho,
we need a new host. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can put it up for debate if you'd like. We can go ahead and go there and see how that ends for you.
I don't know. I think David is doing fantastic.
As one famous politician once said, "This will not end well."
By the way, I just want to play a clip right now that that I feel is fantastic and awesome.
This was not pre-screened, so go ahead.
It started out as Kyle Lear, the hostess with the mostest.
Sure, we can talk about that.
Mr. Alexis Soto very subtly basically and I gotta say, I'm loving this poetry of you slowly taking the channel from Mr. Alexis Soto under his nose without him noticing. So by the time it happens, it's too late and he can't really do anything about it. So I just want to say kudos to
that. I'd like to note that he never denied it either.
I think it's very fitting to me how both of you are using somebody else because you two have failed in your own endeavors to do the same thing that he, I guess, supposedly is attempting to do. So
attempting and succeeding.
Succeeding in what way? Is he here right now?
He's succeeding.
I don't see David. Where's David? Is he here behind you somewhere? I don't see him at all.
He's with us in spirit, sir.
Ah, okay.
Not
The same
5
way.
minutes ago, did you not just say the only one that does any work is David?
Yes.
Hmm.
I don't think that's what you think that it is.
It kind of
But
is.
it's up to you. But I think overall, as Kyle would say, we're very appreciative of David for literally doing the stuff that the rest of us refuse to do. I mean, look, if you want to call out people, he's been able to do this show what the rest of us have just been unwilling to do. For instance, if you're looking for somebody to complain about the fact that you have a camera in front of you and people can see your face, I'd start with him because it wouldn't have been possible if not for him.
David, I like to say I think that this elevated the production level on a whole new different ball game right here. And I honestly applaud you for applying the video aspect and element into Red Spotlight Network. So
because somebody had to, right? And it certainly wasn't going to be the individual who looks at his phone half of the time. So there is that. So today, why are we here today for a podcast? Well, we have something of a new list show to present with you. We're going to talk about our favorite 10 movies of the decade thus far. That means any movie that came out after January the 1st, 2020 to basically today counts. It does not have to be, basically any person had the parameters to make their list however they wanted to. It didn't have to be like at least one movie from every year. It just had to be 10 movies that have stuck with you and that you can say, yeah, these are my shit, and I'm going to talk about it today on the show. Many of the films that we're going to go over today will not be a surprise to really anybody involved. I do want to say, though, we did a part 1 of this series with Alexis Moreno and with David Francisco. Would you two like to hear what their lists were, or would you care to hear that at the very end of the show?
Let's hear it.
yeah.
Okay. So before they went off into their top 10, they were given the opportunity to voice one movie that barely missed the top 10. So Alexis's film that barely missed was West Side Story. And David's film that barely missed was RRR. David's list, mind you, was not ranked. Well, actually, Alexis's was, but I didn't make a note of that. But it is what it is. These lists did not have to be ranked. It's on the podcast reporting. David's films included How Can You Mend a Broken Heart? That is the Bee Gees documentary. The Vast of Night, a film I had not heard of until that moment.
You actually had. I've told you about it. Nightmare
Alley, Bo Burnham Inside, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Turning Red, Godzilla -1, Killers of the Flower Moon, Dune Part 2, and In the Heights. That was David's list.
In the Heights.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Above our
I just said it wasn't ranked. Well, technically, yeah, you're right. That part you are correct about. Alexis's list included Smile.
Damn, okay.
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Barbie. Past Lives. Elemental. Everyone's favorite Eternals. Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2. And
is she cheating?
No, it's 10.
Okay.
No, she's not counting that as one movie. They're two separate films. There will be none of that today. And finally, The Batman. So those are her films and David's films. I do want to make one thing very clear in a way to kind of expedite this process. If, for instance, one of us happens to have a film that at least one other person has, in that moment, they will also make it known, since this is not a ranked list. That way we don't have to go back and have the same discussion on the same movie. So how are we going to go about doing this is, as if it were a normal top 10 show. I'll name one, Peter will name one, Kyle will name one. However, if one of us happens to name a title that the rest of us happens to have anywhere on their list, we will make it known, and then we can have an overall discussion about that in that instant. Are there any questions about that? No?
No.
Okay. Before we begin, was there only one movie that barely missed getting into this list?
I think maybe
Well, I'll give you time to think. I can go ahead and name one.
I think it's the same one as David's.
Really?
RRR?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I have a pretty solid top 10 list. So I don't want to,
There was, but wait a minute. There was one that you had to remove because you gave me a list of 11.
I gave you a list of 11?
You did. You
He's
not remember?
remove one right now.
Remember when we talked about this? You already removed one.
No. I'll explain why.
We were not going to explain why. I just said that wasn't going to happen. You're just doing shenanigans again.
Nope. We are moving on.
Do you remember back in the Decade Show 4 years ago, you tried to peruse 3 films as your number one favorite of a given year back in 2018, I believe.
Nope. Nope. That was the old me. This is the new me, and we're moving on. So, yep. Let's continue on with our number 10.
I wasn't ready. You're just trying to blow past this. Okay. All right. You can do what you want, Kyle, but I'm making a note of that. That was not very kind of you. My movie that barely missed out at number 11 was Ryusuke Hamaguchi, Drive My Car, from 2021. That was a film that I will fully acknowledge again. That one is more, it takes some time to appreciate.
Boring.
Sure. Okay. Whatever. Boring. That's not what you said on your review, which you can go listen to right now on the Red Spotlight podcast feed. I should have mentioned that Peter says a lot of things that are just intentionally false, even though we have plenty of tapes to verify that he does not actually feel that way. For instance, he will very likely denigrate the majority of my films, as he has on multiple occasions on this show, whereas we have evidence to the contrary that he's not really all that negative about it, but he just does that because he likes to, push my buttons. So just so you are aware of that. That way, that whenever that happens, you will know it is to a point, and the point is not for the sake of authenticity, but it is the point to kill me. Just so we're clear. Just like that comment, boring, which very much admittedly, he has said that he does not feel that way at all. So there is that. That film has aged tremendously well, and it's, even though it's 3 hours long, to be fair, 2 hours and 59 minutes. But I think to me it is one that continues to capture my imagination. There were so many scenes that are just wow. Just the shots of the expressions of people looking at each other, and then of course what they're saying to each other. So a reminder, of course, I am speaking and no one seems to be listening. So that usually is a sign for me to move on.
See, this is why I don't like recording, because you're a child. And
yes.
The way
I'm the child here.
Yes.
I'm the child here. Really, you're the one who is looking at their phone while somebody else is speaking. You're not necessarily here.
Listen.
Yeah, oh, sure.
My ears.
How many
my
times have you said,
eyes.
"What did you say?" I wasn't listening.
Through my ear. I heard every word you said right now, but you're throwing a little childish fit, so go ahead.
Childish fit. That's a wonderful way to characterize it in the face of all of the lies that you tell on a normal basis on the show. So, okay. I don't see what's more childish than just lying. Who would like to go first? To just name a movie out there. You know what? I'm going to go first because I think that's an easy one. I expect this to be a film that, again, if I name the movie and if you have it on your list, please verify that you do. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. Do we all have this movie on our list?
I have it on my list.
Peter.
Oh, what did you say?
Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, okay. Who wants to take the lead on this?
Well, it's your film, right? You brought it up.
Yeah, but I feel like in comparison to what you two are going to say, who cares what I feel? This film is, I just rewatched this, as a matter of fact, a couple of days ago, and it is as affecting and as moving as it was since the first time I saw it. It was, and will forever remain, one of my most memorable theater-going experiences based on just how entirely surprising it was. I was expecting a really good movie. I was not expecting to have basically my whole life changed by it. It is an instant classic. Perhaps the best movie to ever win Best Picture. In comparison to the more recent Best Picture winners, I want to be clear about that. Really, a film that is just untouched when it comes to speaking to the times that we live in, and specifically the generational trauma that the people that live in today's world are going through. In addition to that, it is hilarious. It is thrilling. And to me, I think the definitive example of a memorable cinematic experience. I'll always remember, in another life, I would have loved to just do Laundry and Taxes with you. Waymond, Evelyn, instantly just legendary characters. I agree with Peter often, as a matter of fact, even though we bicker a lot, and it may
it's
not
very
appear that way.
You know.
I don't think that's true, but okay. But I think he said in the instant that we had seen it, or maybe perhaps in the immediate aftermath of it, that this was this is what it must have felt like to have seen The Matrix for the first time back in 1999, when we were all 4, or for some, 3 years old in this group. Because apparently there's a big difference between those ages, apparently. And I concur with that particular mindset. This film makes you laugh and makes you cry. It is kind of the perfect movie. And I think also the perfect movie to start off this show. And also, it really doesn't require much explanation to see why all 3 of us had it. And let's not forget how much of a pretentious bitch some of us were being in last year's top 10, listing out all of the endless amount of awards that it won, that all of a sudden it mattered that it won Best Picture and it won a whole bunch of other things. When in the
We're
past,
talking objectively.
well, yeah. Well, it's just funny to me objectively how all of a sudden those things mattered just that one year. But okay.
Objectively.
All right.
Do you remember the other thing I said when we watched it?
Peter, I want you to know something. It has been pointed out to me on various occasions.
Where's my popcorn?
It has been pointed out to me on various occasions that I have a selective memory.
That's one way to put it, yes.
And I have been told of a number of conversations that I've had that I evidently
by many different people.
Yes, that I have apparently no recollection of. I can't change that about me. I can only just communicate to you that I apologize if I ever make you feel like I don't care what you have to say. I very clearly do. It just so happens to be that some things just slip through the cracks.
I committed acts of treason. I can't change that part of me.
That does not change at all. Just because I just happen to forget a conversation we have does not mean I don't value your input or appreciate your presence. Unless you're being a fucking asshole. Then we can have a different conversation. But just so to be clear about that, because now now you're about to say, because now you're about to just tell us about something else that I probably forgot. But go ahead.
I think it was like right after the movie. I said this is probably one of my favorite like top 10 movies of all time.
I mean, that I recall, but
After
I think
seeing
to
it.
me what stuck with me more. No,
now
that
you
I
recall.
did recall, but that to me did not like stand out in
It's
what
a
you
pretty
had
big
called The
statement.
Matrix. It is a bit, but I feel like we say that all the time. At least I say that all the time.
No, I don't. Yeah, I mean, we're not doing this ranked.
Yeah, we're not.
Obviously, but if we were, it would be my number one.
If we were, I don't
Easily.
think it would be top 5. But I love this movie so much
All right,
that it's
just
here in
come
the top
in
10.
and undercut all its
I'm not-
accomplishments. Do I have to rank all the rewards at one? Okay.
Go ahead. You want to? Go ahead.
No, the recording's out there. You
Okay,
can, you
great.
can go back and look. Point being, I think it's a fantastic film. And I think you know how good it is because there was quite a fucking backlash towards it. There are some people that do not like the film, which
It's
honestly
funny.
I do get. It is very...
Did you guys
Out
look
there.
in deeply
It
into
is,
it?
yeah.
I ignored it completely. I
The
was like
thing-
not having it.
The thing is that stylistically and all that stuff, it's really out there, you
Yeah, for
know?
sure.
And so with it being completely out there, you're expected to see, backlash on this. And plus it's kind of the anti like TikTok generation film, because the thing is that like it demands more than 2 minutes of your attention to get what's going on.
See, that's funny because I feel like some people that criticize it are saying it is birthed from the TikTok generation and that it is just a mile a minute. I find
I'm
that
talking
some
about
people-
because yes, this movie has a lot going on for
Yeah.
sure. But what I mean is like thematically, there's so many different deep-rooted themes in the movie that I
Oh, yeah.
feel demand more than 2 minutes of your attention.
Mhm.
And I feel like that's what it really stems from. At least for me personally with this film, I feel like and I remember sitting in a theater with my sister Sophia, and she
I thought of her actually when I watched it this past weekend. Is like when she said what you're about to say. Anyway.
she said that film was a personal attack.
And I took
God
that
damn.
personally.
God
I took
damn.
that
A
personally.
personal attack.
Just because of how real it was
Oh, okay.
to Asian culture and
I was gonna say she's not a middle-aged housewife.
no,
that-
she's not.
that
But I'm
owns
just
a
talking about like
laundromat.
Asian culture and all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
I
there's
think,
a lot of stuff.
I think she finds herself a lot in joy, and so I definitely see that, and I definitely have witnessed firsthand like that kind of dynamic in the household, and just how real it gets parent to child dynamics in Asian culture really it really is concrete in what it's trying to say. It doesn't come from any place of like, oh, we're doing diversity for the sake of diversity. This is something real and something that that really puts it at a tent pole. Like this is easily one of the best Asian films ever. And so like the thing is that the brothers Daniel, they really made a mark by making this super outlandish film with sausage fingers and all that stuff, while also telling this visceral tale
And other
of-
sausages of the variety to be clear about that.
yeah. And then but the thing is that it tells a visceral tale about trauma, parent to child dynamics, and I feel like this really tells the story well, and honestly I applaud it for that. And there's a solid good reason why it won Best Picture, at least for and there she is. I was counting down when that was going to happen, but there she is. Tootsie is now on screen for those that are not on the
So is Emma Stone.
And so is Emma Stone. Yes, a 2-time Academy Award winning Emma Stone.
That second time.
But anyway, so I think that Everything Everywhere All at Once is great. Not enough googly eyes, but but anyway,
You
I
need
think
a couple more, yeah.
Ki Kwan is fantastic in the movie. I think that I think he really has this deep sincerity about his face that I think sells home Wayman's role in the film. And I don't know. I mean, we've reviewed this movie ad nauseum before, so go back and listen to that. But honestly, I can't applaud this movie any more than I can. I mean, it's a once in a while kind of movie, meaning like only once in a while is a movie of this scale made. And the fact that it was made with severely less than your average blockbuster says a lot.
Mm-hmm. I do want to be clear about it, though. I think it was one of the more successful A24 films, at least, right? From a financial standpoint, I think.
I thought it was its most successful.
Yeah, last I recall, it made over $100 million at the domestic box office, comparative to, of course, its size and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah. I said last time that obviously of the people nominated for directing that year, Daniels wouldn't have been my vote. That being said, it's hard to be mad at them winning, considering how. And look, watching this film again just like goes to show you, fuck, how do you do this? Like, this just comes around like maybe once in a generation. Like, it really, the Matrix comparisons, I feel, from just like the impact it had on film, I think are pretty apt.
I would agree, yeah.
All right, so that's one movie down for all of us. I'm curious to see this next one I'm going to name. I know for a fact one of us does not, I think, have it. But let's see if the other person does. Going from one multiverse movie to the next. This actually happened to be a film that was also on Alexis's. Oh, I should have also made clear. Alexis Moreno also had Everything Everywhere All at Once again on her list. David did not. He's the only one that I have that movie on the top 10.
David. He had In the Heights though, so
you know the thing is that going a little bit back to the Everything Everywhere All at Once, that was the first movie that I put down when I was writing and thinking.
Yeah,
like,
that's one of the first ones that come to mind. Yeah. All of us.
That was the first thing that came to mind.
Except David, I guess. Didn't even have it as the honorable mention.
David, I am hereby docking your pay.
I am severely disappointed.
It actually, if you think about it, this is the second, I guess, quote unquote, transgression, if you will. Because if you recall last year's top 10, he had a last minute switcheroo that occurred where he also prevented another title from appearing on everyone's list. He originally did have The Banshees of Inisherin in his top 10, and it would have appeared on everybody's top 10. Except he basically evicted it in place of Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris.
Mrs. Harris Goes to fucking Paris. Oh, boy. Ooh. David,
you're fired.
Bubba, you're killing me.
At the same time, though, looking back on...
David, I just don't like you anymore.
Yeah, I know. You come near me, I'll chop off my finger and throw it at you.
Damn. Real quick.
At this point, you'll find like 5 appendages at his door.
Remembering what the lists were, it's kind of astonishing to me that Peter was the only person to include Tar on the list.
Yeah.
I feel like if I were to do it again, I would have changed that in a heartbeat. That film has aged tremendously well.
It's
It
so
might-
funny.
Yeah. What? What?
I love it.
Yeah,
It's
it's a great film. Not in the conventional, I think, way that people would think that movie
Mhm.
goes down, but it's a tremendous movie. Okay, so as I was saying, going from one multiverse movie to the next, the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the
Madam Web?
Spider-Verse.
Oh, okay.
No, not not Madam Web.
Okay.
Okay, did anybody else have this on this list?
Surprisingly, no.
Peter.
Wow. I did.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so this is the shocks don't end there. So
I'm looking at it, and I think I only have one comic book film.
that's fine. So do I. This is my only one.
I think I have. I don't know. I have to go back and look.
The
Go ahead.
other comic book film, I'm sure somebody else already named, and we'll get to that when we get to there. But as far as this is concerned, I gotta be honest with you. I feel like even more than Everything Everywhere All at Once, I felt like this would have been one of the ones that would have appeared on everyone's list. Because, do you remember how fucking awesome it felt when we watched this movie for the first time in theaters?
Yes. Wait, so this wasn't on David's list?
No.
Okay.
Believe you me, when it happened, I was my jaw was on the floor. I'm like, you don't have this movie on your list?
We needed room for In the Heights. What can I say?
He did make room, if I'm not mistaken, for two other animated movies, Puss in Boots and Turning Red, which are not bad choices.
They're not bad. No, I like those films, but
They're not this.
it ain't Spider-Verse.
It's not. No, this is in a similar vein. And I think it's funny. One of the things I do recall Peter telling me in the immediate aftermath of the film opening, it kind of reminded me of Kyle in this way. We all know.
Explain, sir.
I'm about to. Do you remember the top 10 of 2017 and when you tried to place Logan as your number one? And the whole reasoning behind that was, as you said, was because you didn't want to have a Star Wars film be your favorite movie of the year for the third consecutive year in a row.
You see, I'm putting myself in the perspective of 2017 Kyle over here.
That's hey.
The thing is that
I'm not judging you.
okay.
I'm not judging you.
The thing is that I'm okay. So I'm putting myself in the perspective of 2017 Kyle, and the reason why that was a thing is because it would have been my third fucking year having another
So
Star
what?
Wars film,
If it's your favorite, it's your favorite.
and they were like,
Also, of all the ones, that was the best. That was the one that was
you
like the
really
most like.
fucked up.
Logan is
but
great.
since then, I've since
Yeah.
redacted that statement. That position.
Yes.
Since then,
To
I've
be clear,
redacted.
and I was gonna point that out because you redacted it, and in a very fashion last year, I tried to pull a you when I was trying to deny that Fablemans was not my favorite of the year, and we had that moment.
You want to relitigate that? But okay.
We will in a few minutes, I'm sure.
Piece of
But
shit.
as
Okay.
as far as this movie is concerned, and I'm trying to show you, Peter, that sometimes I do listen to what you say.
When it's to hold it against me, but okay, go ahead.
You hold it against me that I forget some things. Okay,
but I
let's
also
be clear about
remember
that.
the good things too.
Do you? Okay. You said to me, okay, why did it remind me of what Kyle did? Because you said to me immediately, like, is it bad that my favorite movie of the year for 2 years in a row would be a multiverse movie? That's what you told
I
me.
do remember saying that. Yeah.
In the immediate aftermath.
Yes,
Now, granted,
yes.
this was back in June of last year. There were a lot of movies that came out after the fact, so I'm not certainly saying that that's your favorite of the year. We'll have that show later on in the very distant future, apparently.
Yes.
But for right now, and recalling what you had said, that's how much of an impression this movie made on you. For me, I feel this qualifies as one of those experiences where I'm just completely left speechless. I was blown away. The ending, and the reaction that all of the crowds that I attended had to the film, I think really spoke to just the electric nature of the film entirely in ways that few films, even Dune Part 2, I would say, failed to capture. Because while Dune Part 2 had an amazing ending, it didn't have a cliffhanger ending. Well, in a way it did, but this is a much more overt cliffhanger.
No,
And-
there was people like, what the fuck? People were pissed. But in like a good way,
Yeah.
because they liked it so much.
Yeah. That
They're
shows
like,
you how
"No."
like into it they were.
Yeah.
And to me, I know years ago we had talked about how Avengers Infinity War, which is a very good movie that all of us like. In fact, I feel like what it is that you said, Peter, that had to you that's the best Russo Marvel movie? Was that what you said? Or at least the best Russo Avenger movie?
I think it was the best, for sure, best Russo Avenger movie. The original Avenger is still my favorite.
Right.
I think I said it was the best Russo movie too.
Yeah, I kind of feel like, and this is also an example of growth. I think I've come around to that thinking because I feel like as the years are passing by, I think a lot more of Infinity War these days than I do of Endgame. To me, it's like Infinity War, I think, was the film that all of us had the least amount of complaints from as a movie.
Yeah.
And somehow it ended up working all that well. But I think why I bring it up is because when that movie came out, a lot of us were calling it like the heir apparent to Empire Strikes Back, right? In the way that the impact it had on audiences, particularly with that cliffhanger, right?
Mhm.
I feel while not as many saw, just looking at the numbers in theaters across the Spider-Verse, to me, this kind of has a better claim to that overall in that sense. It also, I think, to me, has... Look, I can't think of a single negative of this movie, honestly. Maybe the fact that there's a lot of like comic book shenanigan canon crap into it, but that doesn't bother me in the least at all. It's also, I think, the perfect Spider-Man story. To me, this is like right up there with Spider-Man 2. Like, it's really, really perfect. And Gwen Stacy fucking rocks. The fact that it opens and ends with her, and it's as much her movie, maybe even a co-lead, honestly, at this point of this franchise. I love it.
I feel like it's more Gwen Stacy's movie more than Miles's.
That's
whoa,
fair.
whoa. Is this in your top 10?
Are you saying it's not his turn to speak?
I'm saying if you will not give it the dignity of top 10, I don't know.
I can't believe
Anyway.
David didn't. That's the one that just I can't.
Yeah, that's
I can't.
the one that really pisses me off. What the fuck, David?
Um,
I would say 3 strikes, but we're like on strike 7, so.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, you were saying it's like a really great Spider-Man film. And I think that's what makes it work, because there's a lot of goofy, fun, what do you call it? Like cameo, a lot of nerd fan.
Andrew Garfield's in the movie, right? So is
like,
what's his name? Childish Gambino. Donald Glover's in the movie. Yeah.
A lot of that stuff for quote unquote.
Even that chick from Venom is in the movie.
Yeah, I hate that.
Yeah.
But
That-
that's something else.
Yeah.
That's Sony being
Yeah.
Sony.
We should be grateful Dakota Johnson didn't cameo in the movie.
I don't know. I might have loved that.
Oh, really?
You could have
Or
had her in
fucking
the
Jared
Amazon.
Leto.
Oh, Jared Leto. Oh, I'm surprised they didn't, just because of how big the Morbius meme became.
Morbid time.
Morbid time. No, but what really makes the movie work is the character stuff. There are so many moments. Every time it focuses on the characters, it's an all-time great moment. Everything with Miles with his parents, everything with Miles between him and Gwen Stacy, Even the small moments that he had with Peter B. Parker, because he's not in the movie that much, everything with them just works. Every scene, like there's an amazing scene in the beginning between him and his dad when he's not pretending, he is Spider-Man, but he's pretending to not be Miles, and then when he has the conversation with his mom and the whole blow up at the party, just everything is just perfect. Character stuff, and all of it works, and it's all of it works towards his arc and the decisions he makes. And I always, to me,
a lot of Spider-Man 2 vibes there too.
Yes, to me, stories, especially just normal narrative type stories, they live and die on the choices you give your characters. You force them to make tough decisions, and then they make them. And all of that is apparent on him. Like, he wants to go out there, he wants to be with these spider people, and he wants to be with Gwen. In his mind, they understand him more than anyone he's with currently, at home, at school, whatever. But it is this thing about the love he has for his parents and the way he sort of grows his relationship with them, and sort of this realization of the spider people, and that journey he takes and the choice he makes at the end. All of it works so beautifully. And yeah, it's one of the few movies, especially nowadays.
Yeah,
it's one of the few movies that can throw fan service and nostalgia bait and not make me want to bang my head
vomit
into the wall.
Yeah,
because I'll see that Ghostbusters trailer for the Frozen Empire. Oh my god, I feel the cringe in my body.
Yeah,
every time they're remember this from the original movie? And it's yes, I saw it. Thanks a lot. I'll be watching it instead of this movie.
I thought it was very clever how they introduced the whole concept of the canon and how it's framed here.
Yeah, it's very meta.
It's very meta, but I also feel it takes a page from movies like The Last Jedi and Matrix Resurrections, where it's just kind of telling the audience, maybe you're kind of wrong for putting a lot of stock and value on what is canon and what is not. Although
maybe you're a loser nerd that needs to shut up.
I mean, that's basically what it's saying, but this did not get The Last Jedi treatment, that's for sure.
No.
In any way, shape,
you got
or form.
applauded. But the thing is that the Spider-Man fan base is very much different from the Star Wars fan base. I feel like the Star Wars fan base is a little bit more
Star Wars, I'll say it's the worst fan base.
Yeah.
Just because online they're the only ones that have entire Star Wars channels dedicated to being wokeness bad, and it's just ugh.
Dude, it's just really incompetent people not realizing the franchise they had in the first place.
That's also the thing, yeah.
Because if you look back, the original trilogy was pretty freaking woke for its time, and I don't know, it was a commentary on the Vietnam War and all that stuff, and the hippie movement and all that stuff, and that's what you have. There's so many different political movements that were happening to represent the rebels, and
I definitely think Spider-Man fans understand Spider-Man more than Star Wars fans.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think speaking of Spider-Man, this to me only further highlights, speaking of just complete incompetence. Look, there were some things that the MCU Spider-Man films did that were fine, and dare I even say good. The decision to, and how they treated Aunt May specifically, when you compare how they treated Aunt May to how these two Spider-Man films have treated both of Miles' parents, it's just what the fuck are you on? You have to,
it's night and day.
Spider-Man. It's night and day, but it's the parents are, maybe more so than any other superhero, very important to the life of this teenager, which is who Spider-Man is. And I also appreciate how what was different in this Spider-Man story in comparison to the other movies is the decision to basically Miles want to tell them and basically want to come out to them. Like, hey, I'm this person now. I hope you're okay with it. Like, that was a really empowering thing as well. That the other ones,
for sure.
What the closest that we came to was basically Tom Holland being walked in on, and then it was never.
It was a joke, and then it was never really.
It was never really addressed and all that.
The
stuff.
next
Because
movie,
that's
it's like, oh, she knows and she's cool with it, and don't think about it. And it's like, okay,
because it doesn't matter anyways.
The thing is that it's a big freaking deal. Like, you know,
it should be
that thing, because like, first of all, like, again with like the woke.
Oh my god!
Again with the woke.
Take a shot every time we say woke. We should have had alcohol on this show.
We should have.
We're not.
It's only 10 a.m.
We're not Hoda and Kendra in the morning, all right? So we're not going to be.
We can
drinking.
try. We can dream, right?
But the thing is that like it very much mirrors like, for example, and again, like the X-Men did it as well, where it had like this like the gay coming out kind of connotations with it, and the same thing with this one. You could even take it a step further in going trans with it. And
no, it's an allegory. It's a universal allegory of coming out. You know, the closest the MCU. I put that in quotation marks because technically it's not. But the closest the MCU came to doing something like this storyline, if I'm not mistaken, was Daisy Johnson. Because in Humans, right? That was the comparison to X-Men.
Whoa. It is definitely not MCU.
Yes.
We have official canon timeline.
I just said that. Hello, you're not listening. I just said that. I just said it. But also, remembering what you had said in the past in real time, Peter, from back in 2000 and what?
All of
14,
a sudden,
15.
your memory's working today. Okay.
When it comes to this show, of course, it always I remember everything. Thumbs up, by the way. Give us a thumbs up and a like. By the way, this happens now. I don't know if you can see on Skype.
Wait, what the fuck was that?
Yeah, exactly.
Do it again.
It decides. There it is.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it does that now to give us a like and a comment down below on this. So, if you weren't aware,
the only comments we get are people pissed off at you.
Yeah, well, or people. Not that's not necessarily true. There have been plenty of comments in the maybe not plenty. There've been like one or two comments in the past that were derogatory toward one of our other panelists on this chat, and it wasn't
true.
me.
Okay.
So to be fair, it's not just always me. But in regards to that show, I remember everything, and you did say in real time how that storyline was basically X-Men. And how that's the intent of that whole thing.
Which
was
storyline?
In Humans. In
yeah. Well, but I mean, that's what they did. They basically turned. That's what they did in the comics too.
Right.
It's like they didn't have the rights to X-Men, so they're like, how do we turn Inhumans into X-Men? And then they just never became as popular as the X-Men, so they said, fuck the Inhumans, and we'll just get X-Men back. And then now you're seeing that in the MCU too.
Yeah. So
how fun.
As you were saying, Kyle.
But yeah, I mean, it's just like that whole entire ordeal and all that stuff. And notice how, like, the thing is that, like, the color palette, of, like, Gwen Stacy's world is very trans-colored, you know, kind of thing. And, like, that's the color palette that what they went with. And honestly, it makes them more, I think... if it's not blatantly obvious enough, I think that there was like a pro-trans poster in Gwen Stacy's room, I think.
So they're trying to indoctrinate our children.
And so, like, I think that I think that made it more because, like, that's the next biggest thing, you know. That's the next biggest thing because, like, today, if there's still a lot of homophobia around and all that stuff, but I feel like in this day and age, I think that it's like you're more likely to be more accepted as a homosexual than you are with a trans person, you know. So it's a lot more deeper and a lot the veins of that run a little bit more bigger.
Bigger cheese, more complicated. There's
It
some
is a
people
little
that
bit
are
more.
like very I'm not homophobic, but trans people are bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like one extreme for the next, and you kind of have that in the context. That's why I feel like this movie, I feel like it's more Gwen Stacy's movie more than Miles. So
Well, their whole journeys very much mirror each other because they're both trying to come out to their parents, or they're struggling with that.
yeah, yeah. So, but this movie is absolutely beautiful and all that, and honestly, I would have had it on my, like if I were to make an
forgot
honorable,
you didn't. You shut the hell up now. You did have it on the top 10.
if
No.
I were to make an
No.
honorable mentions, this
No,
and
no.
Guardians Volume 3 would be on the list, but I wanted a solid top 10, so
Wow.
You see, that's not what I was told. So some things were changed from the last time we communicated about this. So you were just saying that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was the movie that I barely missed?
both of those barely missed a top 10.
Okay.
But I'm solid in my top 10. And yes, I said top 10.
I wonder what other changes were made. Okay. So
It
that's
is-
it.
It is my network, and I could do whatever the fuck I want with it.
I mean, I didn't. Okay. Let's go to the next movie then. Who had the Batman on their top 10?
Something in the way.
Peter, did you have the Batman?
I didn't.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy
Wow, that's some shocker stuff right there.
shit. Holy crap. All
Remember, this
right.
is the top 10 for like 4 years.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's tough. It's tougher to get on there.
Now you're on the defense. It's like, do you
I
love the Batman? Really?
love the Batman.
Do you really?
No. Wait, how does fucking
No,
Oh.
no.
So
It's not
three of
how it's
us
supposed to
did not.
go.
Three of us. The official count is 3 of the 5 did not have. I didn't have it either. So it was only Kyle and Alexis
then
that
fuck
had the
you.
Batman.
why are you
Um,
judging me?
I'm not judging you. I'm just like putting you on the defense. I love the Batman.
I love
I
the
do.
Batman
Believe
as
me.
well. I think
Alexis, I believe. Just
Uh-huh.
to be clear, I think Alexis had it as her favorite of all 4 years.
Oh, okay.
So
Damn.
really? Wow.
A woman
The
of the
Batman.
night. Oh no,
I-
wait, that means something else. Never mind.
Oh god.
I was thinking of I didn't mean to come off like that. I was thinking like Batman. Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, Kyle.
First she's in operation and ready for you, and now it's the
That
woman
was
of the
you.
night.
Okay.
No, now it's you.
All right,
All right.
whatever. Is
but,
this on your list?
This is definitely on my list.
Okay.
I love the
I'll bring it back,
Batman.
guys. Continue, please.
I love the Batman. I think like the Batman is a
All right, he's gone. Let's talk shit.
All right.
about
I'm still here.
him.
Okay.
Oh shit! Oh god! Oh no! We were talking about the Batman. Go ahead, Kyle.
But anyway, the Batman, I desperately wanted a Batman movie like this for a while. A noir, a movie that's very stylized, has its own
Mhm.
unique identity. Something that like Batman the Animated Series or shit, I'm gonna go video games. The Arkham trilogy. I
Love
think
those.
I think really are really stylized. It has its own unique kind of flavor and Batman sauce. I think that I think it really I feel like this movie is something that that was not in the way, but more of something that needed to happen. I think Robert Pattinson is probably, if not the best on-screen Batman that we've had so far. Just
He's my
the-
favorite. Yeah.
Just how subdued his Bruce Wayne is, just how subdued his Batman is, because it's the thing about Batman is that you really have to play with both aspects of the character. You have to play a really good Bruce Wayne, and you have to play a really good Batman. And a lot of the actors, they are really good in either or. but they've never really nail the two sides of him. I think that Paul Dano is really creepy as the and also really sells to the dude bros, the alpha males on the internet. And it really changes the perspective of that character. The dynamic between Zoe Kravitz and Robert Pattinson, oh my god. Like, you could cut the tension in that theater with a knife. Like, it is so intense. Andy Serkis, what's his name? Jeffrey Wright as
I love him, yeah, as Gordon.
He is a phenomenal Gordon. I like the way that he has like this like loose way and like the old noir cop kind of talking like, let me tell you something about this guy, and just like the way he talks, I feel is like really. And also like Colin Farrell, he disappears in his role. I mean, it's just like I could praise this movie all day long. But yeah, I really love this movie. It is probably my favorite Batman movie of all time. And just the way that he did, and Matt Reeves, I think, really made this like a really dirty, grimy Gotham, and made it, and throughout all the darkness, have a little light of hope, which coming off of whatever the fuck Zack Snyder was trying to do with Batman is such a breath of fresh air, that I'm like, oh, this is what Batman is. This is what he stands for. He stands for the good of mankind. He is very much like the polarized version of Superman, but they all stand for the same thing, peace and justice, So I feel like this really made Batman, this version of Batman, probably my favorite version.
Yeah, I concur. This film was definitely just like one of those movies that was just a complete joy to watch. And also just endlessly rewatchable as well. The idea of like making him a detective again and having a mystery was, I think, an inspired choice. I think
it's a damn good mystery too.
It is.
Like the thumb drive, I thinking about that stuff, the drops, I think that's what it was called. And also it's so beautifully shot.
For sure. Greg Fraser should have won cinematography. It wasn't even nominated because it was a comic book movie, but probably one of the best uses of the volume we've ever seen, for sure. Roger Deakins liked it so much, he said that should have won, and it wasn't even nominated. Also, Michael Giacchino outdid himself with the score. Really, just like a very memorable theme as well. I know for a lot of people have, well, the score wasn't memorable for like 90% of movies that come out when they don't even bother listening to the music after the fact, but whatever. But this one was one of those where it's like, if you want a movie where you're going to hum the tune after the fact, only after one watch, this one would be it.
Ba, 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 ba. I mean, it's so iconic. And also like the way that poetry, it rhymes kind of thing with the song choice that they use in the movie, Something in the Way. It uses the same chord progression. So,
I know none
music's
of us,
for nerds.
Yeah, none of us mentioned, because it kind of goes without say, but with Spider-Verse, Daniel Pemberton's score. And then also what's not as appreciated enough, I think Peter and I do appreciate it, but some of us don't, clearly, because it's not mentioned, right? But the soundtrack by Metro Boomin, the original soundtrack,
very good, yeah,
very, very fucking good. So there's that. All right, next, moving from one Colin Farrell movie to the next. Did anyone have Banshees of Inisherin in their top 10?
I did not have Banshees of Inisherin.
Wait, this is in your top 10, Alexis?
It is, yeah.
Really?
Why wouldn't it be?
Okay. Yeah, it's in
What-
mine. It's in mine too.
What's that supposed to mean? Am I not supposed to like this movie?
You want me to
What?
talk about it?
Are you disgusted or like, what the fuck's going on?
Nothing
Yeah,
going
go
on.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Banshees of Inisherin. It's in my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. To me, it's one of those movies you see it and I'm like, oh, that was a good movie, you know? But to me, I think what has helped the film is its staying power with me. It's a movie that every so once in a while I think about and I'm like, man, I should rewatch that. I really love Martin McDonough as a director. I think he's
Mhm.
really, really fantastic. And this is easily one of his best. Really, really love it. It's a beautiful looking film. It's a fantastic performance from your two leads who are always great together. What are their names?
Colin and Brendan.
Colin and Brendan Gleeson. Genuinely hilarious and just soul crushing in so many ways. And it's one of those films that it has a genuine narrative, but many interpretations you can take from it.
It's hard to break up with a romantic partner.
Irishman? Oh.
It's harder to break up with an amigo.
Irishman.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So,
Never mind.
so I think that it is it's a beautifully well done film, and the beautiful Irish scenery matches like it's like it's the perfect foil for the downright depressing shit that's happening between these two people. Just like one person is completely denying and the other person is completely lamenting. Why is this person, why is he ignoring my DMs? Why is he ghosting me, kind of thing? And I think that it matches both really well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not going to look it up, but correct me if I'm wrong. But this is the same person who directed Three Billboards, right?
Wrote and directed.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that should just say it enough.
Yeah. No, this film is just spectacular. I had the privilege of watching this 2 times in the theater, first with Nettie, and second with Peter back in 2022, I want to say. And both were just like really just interesting experiences. But then also, I think Peter's correct. This is a film that I feel just grows in your estimation the more it lives with you. It's one of those films that just invades your space and makes you think about it. Like it's a very entertaining film, and yet for however funny it is, it's also just sad. It's like when Shaban is reading a book and Podrick is like, "How's the book?" And she's like, "It's sad." That's like us watching this movie. But thankfully, McDonough is an amazing writer, so much so to the point where he has these characters are so fleshed out that while they're kind of like sad, but they're also hilarious at the same time. Personally, I felt he should have won screenplay that year because how an amazing screenwriter he is.
Yeah.
For Banshees. I understand why it lost because the other one was like steamrolling, but this one was like, Banshees should have won that. And also, personally, I would have made a case for Colin Farrell to win Best Actor because he's someone that hasn't been like as appreciated, and he's fantastic in this movie. Honestly.
He's amazing. Yeah.
Like just watching him in every scene, I'm just like, oh, like he looks like this like a sad little puppy for like most of the movie. And by the way, the direction is not appreciated enough. A lot of just the camera angles and the shots, the transitions, the vistas.
It's a beautiful film.
And it's also just visually communicating what's happening on the screen. I noticed that much more, especially when you have both Calm Sunny Larry, I love that full name, Calm and Podrick in the on the same like screen together. Also Carter Burwell's score. It's to me, it's like one of those films that just like it leaves a lot with you to think about, and it was also a very entertaining watch. Peter, why were you surprised I had this movie on this list where you're like, Alexis, what with his garbage taste in movies? Like, he had this one on his list. Is that what you're trying to imply?
No, I just know if I can just act a certain way, it'll make your brain race. And sort of
don't act
fall
as
apart.
if you weren't surprised in the moment. Okay, we can all see through that.
What?
Okay.
So, what was the in Modern Family? What's it called? In Modern Family, what's the name of Jay and Gloria's son?
Oh, I don't.
The kid.
I forget.
Okay, I forget too.
Yeah.
But there's a part in it where he says like, I steal things. It makes my heart go fast. I like it.
Oh yeah.
You know, there's that part, and I feel like that's you.
Who are you talking to?
Peter.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It's just, buttons are fun to push. You know, like how people have those fidget spinners and like those little things. And they're bored.
Okay, Kyle, you're next. Next movie.
I'm next.
Yes.
Another film that I had on my list that has not been mentioned.
Boo.
And I don't think in anybody's list, unless I'm wrong, is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio.
Alexis, is this
nope.
on your list?
It's not.
Wow.
No.
I guess we have a new number one Del Toro fan here.
There was another Del Toro film that someone else had put in their top 10, but it was not this one.
I know
To
which
be
one.
clear. So, go ahead, Kyle.
I love Del Toro's Pinocchio. I think it is so let me just describe a scene for you, okay? And this is where the movie completely sold me, and where I said I love this movie. This is like the moment for you, Peter, when you watched the I guess the throne room fight in Last Jedi.
I just saw that yesterday. It's fucking amazing.
Amazing.
Where you saw that fight and you were like, "Damn, I love this movie." This
I
is
did
the
do
part
that.
where I fell in love with this movie, is when, and just like how deep of a narrative this movie was gonna go. So Geppetto, he's a woodmaker, he's a woodworker in the village and all that stuff, and he made his church's crucifix in the front of the altar, and you have a bunch of people, and of course, like, it's a very Catholic community, and they're all doing the sign and doing all that stuff and revering this holy image. And then all of a sudden you see Pinocchio, and he asks the question, they like this guy, right? And he's made out of wood. Why don't they like me?
Oh yeah.
Why don't they like me? And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, this is the kind of film it's gonna be. And I loved it. I thought it was just gonna be like a whimsical animated film, but honestly,
But no, there are Nazis.
yeah, there are little Nazis in the movie, but that's
And big
besides.
ones too.
And what?
Because you said there are little Nazis in the movie, and I said
And
and
big
big
ones,
ones
too.
too.
Oh, I meant to say literal Nazis. Sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant like the children, because they have
yeah.
that whole Nazi youth camp thing.
But there's that too.
But anyway, this movie sold me hook, line, and sinker with that scene. And the rest is just like this really interesting, perplexing version of what we all know. Because the thing is that you could easily retell the same classic story over and over again. I'm looking at you, Disney. But also you could take a classic tale and turn it into your own vision and make it a unique piece. And I feel like that's what Del Toro did with Pinocchio, and the animation is beautiful, so colorful, so vibrant, and yet it underplays the darkness that is within. It's kind of like Banshees of Inisherin. It just like it plays with those two elements so perfectly, and it feels It feels right. The Cthulhu looking monstro that they had in it, like
Oh yeah.
absolutely beautiful and gorgeous.
Del
And
Toro, he can't just make a regular big fish.
exactly,
be.
exactly. And the left tier interpretation ending, I feel like makes it a lot more better, and I think continues the story in a organic way kind of thing. And not to mention, it took about 2 hours for Ewan McGregor, classically trained Ewan McGregor, to finally get his music number. Um, yeah, and also like I wasn't expecting it to be a downright musical, but the music I think was I think it's kind of, it has sadistic undertones that I find is really on par for the course for a Del Toro piece. But yeah, so I really love Del Toro's Pinocchio.
I mean, to me, this is so good. It was like crying so many times when I first watched it, but like, it, in my view, was like really robbed of like other accolades, at least with nominations. I mean, like, how do you not nominate this for like visual effects, original song, original score, production design, editing as well? Like, those should be in the conversation of this film.
Animated films, it's like a rule. They don't get nominated for visual effects
Or anything else. Aside
or
from
anything
score.
else, really. Yeah. But especially for visual effects, which is, I guess that's an interesting conversation of like, it's literally the medium. I don't know. The way the Oscars have it is weird anyway.
Yeah, it very much is. I mean, this was scored by Alexander Desplat. He's been nominated like for everything except for this. That seems a bit suspicious to me. But no, it's definitely Guillermo del Toro's heart and soul. Beautiful film. I also want to acknowledge the co-director Mark Gustafsson passed away earlier this year. I don't know if it was natural causes, but sad to hear that. But this film will endure, and I think to me is like a brand new interpretation of Pinocchio that people are going to have from here on out. And I think it definitely speaks more to this generation. All right. Shall we move on to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. My next movie is Killers of the Flower Moon. Martin Scorsese. Did anyone else have this movie?
No.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So we've officially crossed the lexicon. This was the last movie that had a chance at being on anybody else's list. But from here on out, they're just going to be Alexa's choices because no one else is going to have any of these going forward.
I mean, that's how it
Because you
should.
suck. Okay.
Yeah, sure, whatever.
That's
But,
how it
like,
should be, though. I mean,
No, that's not. Yeah, but
everybody's
it's
taste is different. I feel
for sure. Let me see here. But I'm not alone. David did have this in his top 10. So there is that. But that is interesting. Wow. To me, if I'm being honest with you, I think this has a claim. Not the definitive one, but one of the claims to being one of the best films, period.
Here's the thing. Let me defend myself. Here's the thing. You said favorites.
Yeah.
Is that not correct? Okay.
It's one of mine, clearly.
Okay. Hold on,
That's fair,
hold
yeah.
on. Let me. Sustained. Okay. I love Killers of the Flower Moon. It is a very tough watch for me.
I love watching
Anyway.
it. I don't know.
Okay.
I love-
You love watching it. I don't know what that says about
It's
you.
because you know what it
but
is? I love feeling the rage.
That is very much you.
That's me.
Okay.
I enjoy the rage. I know when I watched it with Kyle, he did not enjoy the rage. He was like getting ready to kill somebody. I feel
Well,
like.
any normal human, yes. So that's where my thing is. I think it's an incredible film, but the idea of watching it again, it's like, man, I gotta be in the right mood.
You only saw it the one time?
Yes.
I've seen it 5 times.
Okay, see.
All in the theater too. Yeah, all in the theater. So it was like I don't know how many hours. And by the way, you cannot watch the film without having. I love the little intro that Marty did at the beginning. They kind of like set the mood for what you were about to watch.
He opens and closes the film. Yeah,
he does. That's right. He opens and closes the movie. I understand it's a hard watch, but I don't think it's as hard to watch as other great films that I love. Like, for example, his Silence movie is a much harder watch. I
don't think so.
You
Maybe
don't
it's
think so?
because it's so historical. It's so removed. You know what I mean? Through time, that it's a less hard watch for me. It's like I'm gazing through history more so than with this, where it's like, yeah, it's in the past, but it ain't that far away.
So it's
and I
more
do think
disturbing that way.
there's
That's
more,
the point, though.
But I think
there's
that's
more
what-
implications for modern day as well, I think.
Which is why I love it. I feel like we should be implicated. We need to be called out on our shit. Like this
and
is the
I'm
ultimate
cool with
film.
that. I'm
Yes,
just
I know
saying
you are.
It's a tough
This is the
watch.
ultimate calling out of like white privilege and white power. And I would also go out and venture. That's why it won nothing. Because it disturbed people.
It's a
I would
tough
also
watch,
say,
yes.
yeah.
That's all.
But it's not any. The thing is, like, I get it, but this can't be a harder watch than Schindler's List.
No.
What can be really?
No. And ask me the last time I saw that film.
I don't know.
You know what's remarkable is that my brother's teacher in high school showed them Schindler's List.
Oh
Wow.
yeah, I remember. It wasn't Schindler's List, but we saw The Pianist.
Oh,
You guys know that one, right?
no.
Oh, really? Okay. It's another World War II sort of Holocaust film. A concert pianist, Adrian Brody. The Nazis take over. He struggles to survive. Definitely rated R. I'll just tell you that. But yeah, I remember watching that one.
Yeah, I just say that for me, one of the most powerful films I've ever seen. And I also do think that it is filled with 3, well, actually, I would say legendary performances by the entire cast. It's an amazing ensemble cast, but anchored by, I would venture to say, probably what should be considered memorable performances by both De Niro and DiCaprio in their long careers, as well as an incredible, like, worldwide debut. I know she's been in other films before, but Lily Gladstone here.
Yeah.
I mean,
Introducing
God.
Lily Gladstone. No, to me, I mean, obviously she's incredible. But you mentioned the first two. I think this is De Niro's best performance in a long time.
Very long time.
Because the way he plays it is just so good.
He is
He's the devil.
He is a snake, and this is probably the most despicable I've seen him in quite a bit. And he's played some pretty iconic, despicable
Pieces
character.
of shit. Yeah.
Yeah,
Here,
but
it's like literally the devil. That ending scene between him and DiCaprio, I think originally it was supposed to like escalate to like shouting and stuff like that.
the
I
way he
think
plays
him
it
and
so
DiCaprio-
subdued. Yeah,
Yeah, they argued like no. It shouldn't be like that. It's more reserved.
But what really stuck with me is what was said in that last exchange between those two was him being so convinced and him being right in the idea that give it some time and this will just be, just an everyday common tragedy.
Yeah.
And DiCaprio says, this is not common. Well, it just reminds you of how like we turn a blind eye in general. To everything. I think what I won't forget this ever. This tweet I saw last year that basically said that this movie was if someone took that one scene from Oppenheimer where the guy was like, I think crossing Kyoto off the list of cities to bomb because they had
he
honeymoon
vacationed there once.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Killers of the Flower Moon is that scene and just that scene. for the entirety of its 3.5-hour runtime. Like that in they have their own version, several, but in this movie where one of the ensemble, I forget the name, but like he's basically saying like, if I kill these kids, do I still get the insurance money, basically, or whatever it was? And then the lawyer, this communicates to me that you plan on, and the guy says, no, not if I don't get the money. Just with a straight face. The reactions from people in the crowd were hilarious when we saw it in the various number of times. And of course, to say nothing of that ending, the definition of a mic drop ending, honestly. And to me, funny to me, how Marty Scorsese, who these last 10 years, I think by most people know him for the comments he made against Marvel. And I love how he just like does his own MCU-esque cameo, but is actually fucking meaningful to the themes of the story. Just a mic drop all the way throughout. No, I love this movie. Clearly I do. And I get your guys' reservations about watching it again. I love watching this movie. Just have it on a loop.
Again, you're someone who likes to wallow in that anger, and
yeah, I think it's healthy to get the anger out.
I don't think it's healthy.
Well, that's just one man's opinion. All right, Peter, you're next.
I like how you say next. This is the first time you've asked me to name one.
Well, you've already revealed 3, but
yeah, but name.
I was
first.
going at it in a way to just. Okay, obviously some of these are going to be on some of these lists, so it happened to be that finally you're going to get the option to have one movie. Go ahead.
Nope.
Did anybody else have this movie on their list, Kyle?
I definitely have this movie on my list.
There we go.
Okay.
Do you have it on your list, Alexis?
I'm guessing not.
Unfortunately, I don't. No.
Wow. And I bet the Morenos didn't either.
Finally, Peter, a fellow brethren with taste.
Yes, fellow cultured individual.
Okay,
you go. You take it. Go ahead.
Oh God, nope. Oh my God.
Can I just say, I don't know what this says about me. I think Nope is a harder rewatch than Flower Moon. Because I get
it's not
like
real.
I get freaked out at the shit that happens. Like the scene where the alien thing eats those people and grinds them is like horrifying to me.
Okay.
Like that's a harder rewatch for me. And then also all the stuff with Gordy, like
It's not real.
Oh, that's so freaking. Oh my God, so unnerving, so intense, so beautifully crafted by one Mr. Peel. I just don't. There are no words. It leaves me speechless every time I watch it. I think I've watched it 6 times already. And it gets more beautiful every time I watch it. Just the whole thing. Like this is I'm gonna be making things like these. This must have been what it felt like to watch this, at the time, but this must have been what it felt like to leave Jaws.
Which, by the way, we did recently with Alexis's first time watching that movie a few years ago.
You don't need to bring it up.
But
I agree, Kyle. It feels like what big Hollywood movies used to be. I think in that sense, what a 70s or 80s blockbuster would have been considered.
Yeah, and it honestly, Peele really sells it on that point because again, like you could tell like the Jaws influences and you could tell like the other influences about this movie, but to make a cloud scary, I think it speaks to the levels of this.
This just happened to me a few weeks ago. I was driving to San Diego and I literally took a picture while I was driving. I know it was dangerous, but there were like clouds in front of me. And I shared it with Peter, and I'm like, uh-oh. Like, that's how much the movie has stayed with me. It's like, I was thinking of, like, what if there's some shit in that cloud and it's not moving?
Yeah, I mean, it is, it does, sometimes it does freak you out. Sometimes it does freak you out seeing a random-ass cloud in the sky, and just like you're like, is that an interdimensional being?
The space
but
between space.
but yeah, I think that it is I first of all, like the cast, I think is beautiful. Namely Daniel Kaluuya and Kiki Palmer. I think Kiki Palmer. Oh my God, what the fuck?
Yeah.
She kills it. She kills it, and honestly, like, and all like again with the stuff with Gordy and all that stuff is fantastic too. But I think like the most like key part of it is just the downright suspense and just the theme of what people are willing to do for spectacle is, I think, like the key antithesis of why this movie works. And especially because again we're going back to like the TikTok age and all that stuff. It's just like everybody wants that 5 seconds of fame. People want it to be to have that bit only for spectacle. People do stupid shit all the time, and to see the lengths people are willing to go for spectacle, I think just adds to the fire and sauce of Jordan Peele's masterpiece. Nope.
Ditto.
Okay. It's great. I think it's his best movie easily.
I think it cemented him as like an all-time director.
Yeah, and it went so under the radar, I feel like.
Oh my God. That pisses me off, the way people were so iffy on it. And it's like, this is a masterpiece right here.
It really is.
Like, I think it's even better than Get Out.
Get Out.
Like, that's the thing, is that with like movies like Nope and another movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once, these are your like once in a lifetime, masterpieces that are coming out that people are
Remember
ignoring.
how fucking I wanted to run away when he did that fake out with the 3 little aliens in the barn?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
He was like, not today. I was so fucking terrified. He was great. Okay. Anybody else?
Nope.
All right. Well, I'll go next. My next movie is from a director I've recently discovered. I would say in some ways in part to Peter, but not really. I discovered this on my own, and then like he was like, "Well, if you like him, watch these other movies." So I'm referring to German filmmaker Wim Wenders. And recently, thanks to Peter, I had seen for the first time some of his like more famous works, like Paris, Texas, and Wings of Desire. And at some point, we are gonna talk about those movies on this show because there is so much to say about that. In addition to, of course, his most recent work, which I would argue more than any other movie in recent memory, I feel, kind of like it went under the radar, especially when you consider the fact that everyone who has seen it kind of adores it, and those that haven't seen it just don't talk about it when it came to the best movies from last year. And I am talking about his recent film with Koji Yakusho, Perfect Days. I want to stress this film is one of the most just transfixed I've ever been watching on screen. This is a story of this middle-aged to old Japanese guy, and he cleans toilets for a living, and he is happy. He loves life. When I say this is one of the most soul-nourishing movies I've ever seen, it is that. I saw this film immediately after watching The Zone of Interest, which is about this Nazi family that lives next to Auschwitz. and they hear all those fucking sounds and they see the ashes and the flames. Watching this after that revived me. Because
the tonal whiplash, right?
Seriously. But what this ended up doing for me was just reminding me of how appreciative and thankful I should be for what I have, but then also how much more
You ungrateful bitch.
how much more I should appreciate the nature that exists around us. This guy is just like so content with what he did, what he is, and also just I think there's a little bit in all of us in that character, in his love of collecting physical media.
Now there it is.
There it is. Yeah. I would love to say more about it, but I'm kind of waiting for particularly Peter.
Overview. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting for you to watch it because I know you'll love it. I know that for me, if you ask me on any let me see. Depending on the day, I would say this is my favorite movie of last year. Depending on the day. But
well,
it's not.
You gotta wait. You gotta wait.
I gotta wait for that part yet. But the finale of this film, God, one in a year full of amazing endings. They play Nina Simone's "Feeling Good," and the just it's almost entirely facial expressions by the lead actor Koji Yakusho. That alone, I think, demanded some trophies with what he was able to pull off. I can't believe you were able to make something as a man cleaning toilets, one of the most like exhilarating cinematic stuff you've seen all year, and he was able to do it. From what I have seen, Wim Wenders is one of a kind and is just crushing it when it comes to delivering some capital C cinema. Peter, I would think that you would have more to say if you were in a position to actually watch movies. And I'm sure you would have already seen this by now.
Probably.
You just didn't. So, but did you want to say anything about Wim Wenders overall?
He makes some good films. Like you said, I recommended you a couple.
Mm-hmm. And I watched. Because I do take your recommendation seriously, even though you say constantly that they fall on deaf ears. If you say they fall on deaf ears, I mean, there's somebody else that's more guilty of that. Anyway, Peter, you're next.
Me?
Yes.
Little old me?
Little old you.
Okay, let me pull up. Okay. This one, I assume... Maybe I shouldn't make this assumption. But I assume that someone else will have it here. And that is Dune Part 2.
We're already going there? Okay.
Why not?
All right.
Here's the thing.
No.
Here's the thing. I combined. Listen, this is my network. I get to do whatever I want, and this is where I'm doing whatever I want. All right. I'm combining Dune Part 1 and Part 2. I'm combining Part 1 and Part 2. I don't care.
Oh,
I don't care.
We knew this was coming.
I don't care. I am combining Dune Part 1 and Part 2. So I do have not only Part 2 on my list, but I have Part 1 as well.
So it's 11 movies.
It is 10 movies because it's one whole experience.
Oh my God.
The Dune experience
experience, 2 movies.
It is one experience, one total experience. You can't have one without the other.
I mean, we did for a couple of years.
So, but now I refuse to watch it any other way. I have to get the full experience. I have to.
Where's Alexis? Did he walk away? I can't see him.
I have to drink the warm Gatorade. But yeah, yeah, Peter.
He's not there.
Because Alexis completely disappeared. That's fine. That's fine. Whatever.
Okay. Mhm.
Whatever. Dude, I am at a loss for words. Again, what I said with Nope. This is what it must have felt like, and all that stuff. This is what it felt like to watch freaking like Lawrence of Arabia or Star Wars for the first time. Just like something unique, something that I feel like hasn't been shown before in this kind of context, and the way that Denis Villeneuve made it big and intimate at the same time. It just feels like this whole encompassing movie. And I haven't read the book, but I hear a lot of shit goes down in the book. But god damn, this story is so fulfilling. It just about false gods and what's it called, exuberant people are like, oh, let's listen to this guy, the very antithesis of like the anti-Trump kind of notion, like just like this guy, we could listen to him because he's saying all the right sort of things. And it really sells home that point, and the visuals, my god, I think that these are some of the most gorgeous movies. I mean, it's the same cinematographer as the Batman, right?
Yes.
So I mean, clearly
he's killing it.
Clearly he's killing it. Yeah, and it makes it feel bombastic, huge, and all that stuff. Like, I honestly, like, these movies have not left my head since I saw the movie. Like, I just completely keep on thinking about it. I was heading on over to a city close by to where we live, and in between are sand dunes, and I was just like, I couldn't help but have Hans Zimmer's score just blaring.
You're looking out the window and going, ah.
Yeah. Because of just how iconic and impactful those movies are, I just, no words. It's just like it blows me away every time I think about this one soul experience that you get.
But with two movies.
It just took about a few years to complete the other half of this one singular experience. But yeah, I love Dune. I love it so much. The episode that you did with David, Peter, was very fascinating. Just like what happens after and what comes next. Yes. Is really fascinating. Like, Dune Messiah is full of some wonky shit, and just like the fact that in the book, Paul compares himself to Hitler is just absolutely confounding and just nails it on the head, because some dumb motherfucks don't get the message and theme of Dune. So he's like, okay, you didn't get it the first time. Okay, I'm gonna literally spell it out for you. So I can't wait for what Denis Villeneuve is gonna do with Dune Messiah. So yeah, I'm all for Dune. I'm all for Dune. Denis Villeneuve could do no wrong. He's an amazing director.
He really hasn't. Every film he's ever made has been a banger. So
exactly.
Insane run by him. You talk a lot about like, it's a lot of people talk about this movie like, oh man, like this is how like you said, must have been to see this movie or that movie, like very old Hollywood type shit, big movie. But I take a different approach. The way when I see it, what I think is, this is the way big budget movies are supposed to be today. Yeah, because it's like this. What was it? I think it was under 200, 190 or something like that. And you'll see these Marvel movies, and they got like a 300, damn near 300 million price tag.
And
It's garbage. It
where's
looks
the
so
budget?
fucking ugly.
You
Where's
don't
it
see where
going?
the budget is going. Yeah, but
It's not
here
going to a script. It's not going to visual effects.
but you definitely feel the budget in this. You definitely feel like the money.
Yeah.
You feel every dollar being used on
It is
screen.
the definition of a cinematic experience. It's just incredible. I love the way they start the movies with the like
Yeah, exactly.
before the logos. It's almost like a trance. It like snaps you into the world.
Yeah.
and like before the logos even pop up. It's amazing. It's genuinely amazing. I loved this film. One of the best blockbusters of not just the 2020s, of the past decade, going back the previous decade. It's and yeah, it's gonna be one of those things.
I like how
have no
this
doubt
movie
Denny's
starts
gonna
with
bring it home.
Zendaya. She's saying like, I love my world of Arrakis.
You mean Dune Part 1?
No, the beginning of the film. Of this part of Dune.
Part 1.
I love it when Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low. You really see the spice.
Love me them spice.
Since Alexis is not here, I'm pretty sure he's not here. I'm gonna talk about some movies that I'm pretty sure aren't on your list, and just taking the time to get those out of the way. So yeah, the next movie I have on my list, I'm for sure. I think 3 for sure aren't on your guys' list. But,
Are you just gonna go through all 3?
I'm gonna just like talk about them for a little bit.
Okay.
No Time to Die.
Oh, the biggest surprise of the century.
I'm pretty sure it isn't on any of your guys' list, but damn, what a fine, good Bond film. It's
How the rumors about who's the next Bond is gonna be? How you feeling?
Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
I'm okay with it.
I'll be honest. He just doesn't seem like Bond to me, but okay.
I'm okay with it. I want to see more important from who the Bond is. I want to see who's directing it and who's writing. That's who I think is most important, in terms of seeing who's directing it. But yeah, I'm okay with Aaron Taylor Johnson being Bond, as long as I get Bond 26 in my lifetime. That's perfectly fine with me. And if this is a way to get it to be faster, I think. But yeah, No Time to Die, I think, is a perfect finale of an accumulation of the longest Bond tenure in all of Bond franchise.
Is it really the longest?
It's the longest time somebody has had the role
the
of
mantle,
Bond.
but not
Yeah.
the most films.
It's not the most films. That still goes with Roger Moore. But
Damn, they really pumped them out with him then.
yeah, they really did. It was, I think, like 7 or 8 films.
That's crazy.
7 or 8 films, and but yeah. But the thing is that like I feel like this really encompasses everything that was great about the Daniel Craig era. And I think that it was a great finale, and not only that, but it's just a damn good movie too. I mean, it has everything that you want in an action film. It's just like, I don't know. I think that it really, it's a really good, satisfying conclusion to one of my favorite movie series of all time. So yeah. Another movie that I have on my list that I don't think is on anybody else's list is The Harder They Fall.
I like that film.
I really do too. Was it on your list?
It's the cowboy one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
It has recently controversial Jonathan Majors and
yeah, he's
Idris
great in it
Elba.
though.
He is great in it. It's a fantastic movie. Like honestly, we need more spaghetti western style, movies like this one. I mean, it's the reason why I think my favorite Tarantino film is Django Unchained, just because like this is my favorite kind of sauce. You know what I mean? I love old school stylized western films, and this really scratched that itch that I've been wanting for a while. And the score is beautiful, adding like contemporary like hip hop beats to emphasize that these were the gangsters back in those days, kind of thing.
The real gangsters.
These were the real gangsters, kind of thing. And the satisfying conclusion, and it just is an absolutely fantastic film that I just love, and I wish that there were more spaghetti western films like this, or stylized like that, and take that together. And also like the cinema grain was beautiful. I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful piece, and yeah, I wish there were more of it, but if there were more of it, then it wouldn't be as special, right? Another movie that I think that was on my list that I don't think is anybody else's list is The Tragedy of Macbeth.
You really got a thing for Shakespeare, don't you?
I love Shakespeare, particularly this one, because this is my favorite. I mean, I'm an English teacher.
And version of is this your favorite version of that? Because they've retold these stories 5,000 times, especially in film.
Macbeth has been done to death, but this is my favorite version of the story.
Okay, yeah.
Like, for example, like
It's very beautifully done, yeah.
It is a remarkable film. I think Denzel Washington plays it fantastically. Frances McDormand and so on and so on. I think that this movie is absolutely well crafted. And it is probably my definitive version of my favorite Shakespeare tale. It's much like akin to where I feel like the style of Romeo and Juliet really matched Baz Luhrmann's flavor.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's my favorite version of that story. This is my favorite version of this story, and I love
the tragedy. Have you shown it to your kids?
I don't think so. I think Macbeth is not on the 4th through 8th.
Oh, it's a little more advanced, isn't it?
It is a little bit more advanced. Yeah. If I were teaching high school, I would definitely show this, but but I would this is it is probably the best way to figure it out, kind of thing. And I love how it's letterboxed shaped. I love that it's in a 4:3 aspect ratio to really show that, this is a stage and we're setting it up, kind of thing. Much like classical Shakespeare,
it's very minimalist.
Yeah, it is very,
it's beautiful. What do you call it? Set design. But very, very minimalist, sort of to imply, like, back in the day, they didn't have advanced set design. They had the actors, and probably a backdrop, and that was it.
And this is also another Brandon Gleeson film, because he's also in it.
Oh yeah, he is. Okay.
But the way that the sets, I mean, it is very much like a 1950s, 1940s cinematic set, where the set isn't the key point, it's the actors, like you said. But I think that The Tragedy of Macbeth is an absolutely beautiful film. I love the style that it has, and I don't know. It's a very much me film. It spoke to me most, so I think that's why I love it, because of that, and I appreciate it, and I laud it for that. So, yeah, I really dig the living shit out of The Tragedy of Macbeth. It's cool. It's yeah, and what a way to tell my favorite Shakespeare tale. So yeah, those are 3 that I'm pretty sure were on any of your lists. But I just wanted to go over those real quick.
No, those are definitely quintessentially Kyle.
Yeah, it's definitely
Definitely. And I actually think I enjoy every single one. I enjoy all those films. Yeah. Well, since Alexis is gone, let's just talk shit about him until he comes back.
I mean, that's a lot more than you'll say for any of the movies that I'm about to mention. That's for sure. Don't think just because you don't see my image that somehow that means that I haven't been listening the entire time, guys. If I'm not on camera, it's because I've been attending to some technical issues behind the scenes, as a matter of fact. So that's why. And so I'm back. I never actually went away. A couple of things to mention that I thought were pretty humorous to me. I'm just gonna not even address the part 1, part 2 thing. I'm choosing to ignore that. That's first of all. Second of all, I find it very interesting to me how the only time you ever seem to listen to the podcasts are when I'm not featured in them.
Remarkable coincidence at that.
We'll see. You call it coincidence, sure. Okay, fine. All right. And I believe you pointed out No Time to Die and The Tragedy of Macbeth, correct? Was there another film that you mentioned that I missed?
The Harder They Fall.
The Harder They Fall. Okay. So, all right. At this point, I feel like we are having movies that are not going to be on our lists any longer, okay? So, with that, let me go ahead and continue.
So that means, hold on a second.
Yes.
So, may I mention another film just to throw it out there?
I mean, sure.
So that means none of you guys have Avatar: The Way of Water on your list.
No, I don't think I have it.
No.
Wow.
No.
Wow. I have Avatar: The Way of Water on my list.
Peter, if I'm not mistaken, we have at least half of your movies listed, correct? Dune Part 2, Nope, Banshees of Inisherin, Spider-Verse, and Everything Everywhere All at Once, correct? That's what's been mentioned so far.
Yes.
It's crazy that Peter only has half a movie.
Oh my god.
On his list.
All right, moving on.
But
Go ahead, talk about The Way of Water is one of probably the best visually looking movie ever made. It's hard to say that much more about a film that is just absolutely perfect. In many ways, it kind of is an Empire Strikes Back of sorts, even with some of the storylines and some of the thematic stuff that they're going into the movie. But no, Kyle, I'm afraid it means that nobody else placed The Way of Water in their top 10.
It is a fantastic film. I love it. And you know what? This is the thing that you take 10 years and you forget why things are great in the first place. And I think it took a little bit more than 10 years for this movie to come out, since 2009, since the original film came out. And I was just completely baffled at how at why I forgot the first one was so great in the first place.
Well, it wasn't just you. Everybody was trying to rewrite history there. Funny how things change.
History.
And so I remember watching that movie.
Wait a minute. What was that reaction? I meant that people were trying to rewrite history and that Avatar was not good.
Oh, okay.
That's what I was referring to. What did you think I was talking about?
Don't worry about it.
See, it's funny how I'm the one that's made out to be the person that takes everything as a perceived slight. That, I think, that little outburst of yours was very, very revealing.
Okay.
Kyle, your name. Go ahead.
Anyway,
Your name.
Some of the shots felt like I was actually at an aquarium, just looking at the.
Except the one, right?
To be fair, you literally walked out right as they reached the water.
But the thing
Right
is
as
that,
they jumped into the water, you left to go to the bathroom.
hey, listen, we were on hour 3 and
We were not on hour 3. That was barely hour 2.
Yeah.
but anyway, so I was like,
God, when he walked out, remember the look that we had, Peter?
I was
It's
so
like,
pissed off. The entire the scene that you go to the movie to see, and he's just like, whoop, just walked out.
but hey, when I came back, I was just like, what the fuck is on screen? Because it was so damn gorgeous. I was like looking at like, wow. And, you know, hey, better late than never, you know what I mean? But that doesn't, I mean, it is the scene, yes, but the thing is that the rest of the movie is gorgeous too. I mean, it's a gorgeous looking film, and yeah, it made me pumped for the next one. I can't wait for it, and I hear that it's like going to be a volcanic Navi.
The bad Navi.
I hear it's
The
going to be
Fire Nation.
Yeah, it's gonna be volcanic Navi, so I'm really excited for that. Yeah, Avatar: The Way of Water, beautiful, beautiful movie. Probably one of the best looking films in the last 10 years.
Peter, would you like to go next?
Sure. The next film I have, I honestly don't know if anyone has it. Probably not. We'll see.
To be clear, you only had Dune Part 2, not Part 1?
Well, it says Part 2 here, yes.
Okay, just making sure.
It's weird that you only have half a film on there.
Tar.
Yeah, baby, that's a fucking great pick. And I can't look. I'll say this. Why has nobody else in our group watched that movie? Honestly, look, I know that all of us do our best to watch as many movies as possible, and I know, well, to be fair, all of us except you, Peter, have our blind spots of movies that, because I think you've seen, well, not necessarily everything. I think this year
Not
changed.
in the past few years. Yeah.
But more often than not, you've seen more than the rest of us combined. That being said, there are a couple of things that I feel like I would wish some of our friends would take our value, our input seriously. I know Dr. Sleep is awesome, and some of us haven't seen Dr. Sleep because they're waiting to see.
Who hasn't seen Dr. Sleep?
Who do you think?
Could be any one of those monsters.
It's this monster right here in front of you.
He
hasn't seen Dr. Sleep because he wants to watch The Shining again. That was 5 years ago. It's been half a decade since that movie came out and you still haven't seen it. More to the point, David hasn't seen Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah. It's his deeply seated homophobia, I think.
What was another one that, and I'm from, Alexis has her own blind spots, of course. I don't think she has seen Godfather or likes Godfather, but that's a different situation altogether.
She doesn't like The Godfather?
Yeah, basically.
By the way, guys, speaking of The Godfather, I went to the Academy Museum recently.
Yes, okay.
And saw the Godfather display. Perfectly intact. The Godfather set is. The
point is, I cannot believe nobody else has seen Tar. Tar is a fucking masterpiece. It's one of the best movies made this whole fucking century. Freaking
Is it on your list?
No. But I am borrowing what you said earlier in the show. It's not like what your defense was for not putting Flower Moon on this list. Hey, don't fucking call the kettle black here. Seriously. But the point here is, and he walks away as I am making a big point about him watching the movie. Great. Tar just falls on deaf ears. Whatever. Go ahead, Peter. Who am I even fucking talking to at that point? Because he walks away. I'm trying to make a point, and he fucking walks away. Go see fucking Tar. Lydia Tar is the moment. She is the now. Go see that movie. Jesus.
She is our problematic queen. Tar. I love Tar. One of the things I love so much about Tar is it almost defies genre.
Yes.
It's a crazy little film. Like it's a character study for sure, but there's such strong elements of horror and dark humor, and it's very like it gets very dreamlike at moments, and you become sort of unsure what's real and what's not real, even though there isn't like explicit defining this is real and this isn't real. It's just, it's filled to the brim with symbolism, and it's just such a beautifully put together film. And what's her name?
Kate Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. This is her film. Like this.
Yeah.
If you're ever like, hey, I've heard about this Kate Blanchett. I've never really liked. I don't think she's a great actress. It's like, first of all, insane. Second of all, watch this film, because she probably should have gotten Best Actress that year. Because I mean, I'm happy with who did win.
That's the thing. I think to me that was the closest Best Actress race personally, because I think emotionally, Michelle Yeoh, right pick. Technically, Kate Blanchett, fucking like one of the best performances ever put to screen.
She's fantastic in it. And it's such an amazing film. And I think the ending really sealed it for me. It feels almost sudden, the ending. It almost doesn't feel like an ending, but it's also hilarious. And it's just and again, that word again,
Enigmatic, emblematic.
Emblematic of the film as a whole.
If you were in my class, I'll give you a gold star.
Oh my god!
I wouldn't.
Oh, I tried.
He got there.
He
got there.
No, I don't give out stars. I probably should, but
You
I
probably
don't.
just give out red cards and shit like that.
I believe it or not, I don't.
I
I avoid at all costs to give out. I think they're useless, but I don't give them out.
Okay. Point being, it's a great fucking movie. And it's one that I love to rewatch, because if I had time to rewatch it, because it is such a layered film. You can watch it many times and pull new things from it. It's very entertaining as well.
Yes.
I think some people felt it starts slow. I don't think so. I just think it's I don't know, because even in the slower moments, it really has my attention.
But it demands a rewatch because it leaves you with so many questions too. Like, what was Look, there were some scenes that happened in the film where I'm like, what was going on there? And some of them are actually kind of horror-ish. Like, especially when she goes down into that, she's trying to follow a person into what she feels is her apartment. Then there's a dog that comes out of nowhere, and there's like an abandoned area. It's fucking creepy too.
Well, there are some people that theorize like movie that happens after that is like it's not real, like it's in her head.
Did she die? That's
right.
Like
she fell and hit her head, and that's kind of her just her brain, going through the process. But that's what I mean. There's just so much layers to the film. It's such a great watch. So yeah, Tar.
I want to point out
starring
that
Lydia
Tar, Past Lives, which was in Alexis's list, and Perfect Days, which was in my list, were among Marty Scorsese's favorite films of the last few years. So I think these lists overall are doing something right if we're echoing the master in what he personally liked.
When I last left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
Okay, my next film. Finally, back to me after an hour. Another Round. Mads Mikkelsen, Thomas Vinterberg. This movie was, in my view, the definitive film of 2020 because, as the title suggests, another round of life. This deals with these four Denmark or Danish high school teachers, well, their version of high school, and they're in a rut and they don't really they've been friends, I think, literally for a long, long time, and they're kind of like stuck in life and not really sure, going through the motions or disassociating. When they get this idea, what if we try and intake a little bit of alcohol every day to boost our overall performance and see if it helps improve our overall quality of life and maybe also improve the performance in our jobs. And for a while, it does.
Are you doing an ad? What's going on?
Another round. Where were you? Is my next movie.
Okay. It sounded like you were doing an ad. Like
we have sponsorships now.
It'll help you in your own personal life and at work.
I'm describing the events that happen in the film. You've seen
Try
it yourself.
Zyrtex.
Yes, but the point I came in, just what you were saying and your dialect, it sounded a lot like you were like, this will help at home and at work.
I'm just trying to explain for Kyle because I know he has not seen this film. So I'm just trying to catch him up on like what happens in the movie.
Was a better round? What year was it?
2020.
Oh, okay.
Where literally no movies came out, but which was, I think, if it was ever a year to have an excuse to not watch a movie, that probably wasn't the year to pick. Because what did we have going on in 2020? Yes, another round. I think it's just a beautiful performance by Mads Mikkelsen. I think his best performance. I think this is a showcase for what he can do that most Hollywood films don't understand, that he can do more than just one thing. Yesterday, Peter and I watched Late Night with the Devil, and it kind of showed you another layer of a different actor, David Desmalchian.
Oh, how was that?
It was great.
That's
great.
A movie that's definitely under my radar right now.
Really fun. Peter would have invited you, but I think you usually turn down invitations, so he just has stopped inviting you. And I think that's what he told me last time.
That is not true.
It is a showcase for what David Desmalchian can do outside what they usually give him, as this another round is.
They usually give him like the weirdo.
Yeah, this is not what it is at all. Maybe a little bit, not really.
Yeah. No. This is very different.
It's a leading performance, and he crushes it, as Mads Mikkelsen crushes it in this movie as well. He fucking made me cry. Like, he is terrific, and also made me feel so much full of hope that when I get to his age, when half of his life is over, it's only half over, and there's another half to go.
Well, you're not that far away, right?
That's right. None of us are.
I didn't say that. I said you.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. So, to be clear about that. So, another round is mine. And I'll go another round for me. West Side Story.
Boo!
Yay. Boo! Boo, boo. Yes, well, it is what it is. Steven Spielberg came back and shut everybody the fuck up, first and foremost.
By bombing.
I love how we just selectively forget, by the way, back in 2020, 2021, how we were like setting up this really arbitrary fight between Lin-Manuel Miranda and Steven Spielberg about like their Hispanic-oriented musical, and to see which one would come out on top. And I love how everybody collectively was like declaring a victor beforehand. And then when it came out, there was a big loser. Well, technically there were two big losers, but there was a bigger loser from a box office standpoint. But from a filmmaking standpoint, West Side Story wiped the floor with In the Heights. And I like In the Heights. I think all of us here like In the Heights very much. But West Side Story came and it fucking conquered. And I love how we just don't talk about that anymore, because God forbid we can ever just say we were wrong about underestimating the master, right? No. We can't ever do that. And we were so happy that the year after, we had another opportunity to remind him how much of a loser he was by snubbing him at every turn. Anyway, this film, we all know who the masters are. The old masters. And I'll name another one in the next installment.
Obi-Wan Kenobi? Yoda?
Yeah. This is an amazing fucking musical. It's an amazing film. One of the best directed movies ever made. And also the performances deliver in a way that just move you. I rewatched this last week and I'm just like, wow, this was fantastic. And you know what kind of offended me in the last podcast? Alexis, she didn't watch this on the big screen. She put this in her honorable mention. She watched this on a fucking plane. And I'm like, of all the ways to watch West Side Story, I'm like, on an airplane.
That's how Steven Spielberg intended for this movie to be watched.
I mean, sure, he shot some of it on an iPhone, but that's not the intent to watch this on your phone or on an airplane. Anyway, Rachel Zegler fucking crushed. I'm never going to forget, Kyle, when you were just like immediately just like taken aback by the quality of her vocal performance when she first sang.
She blew me away. I was absolutely confounded with just like the first bar that she dropped.
Mm-hmm.
The whole movie is absolutely beautiful. It is. I'm surprised it took this damn long for Spielberg to dive into a musical because he's done every other genre under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
But it's remarkable that it's just like this is the time to do a musical. The choreography is great. It's filmed very much like the ones in the 50s and the 40s and all of like the stuff that or that he was inspired by, and this is very much Spielberg's Star Wars.
That's okay.
In this way, because like the thing is that if we're to look at it, Star Wars is very inspired by Lucas's love for Flash Gordon and the Saturday night serials and all that, the space operas of its time, and that's what he was very much inspired by. And it looked like Spielberg was very much inspired by the musicals, like the big grand epic musicals of yore, like My Fair Lady, the original West Side Story, and so on and so on. So this feels very much like his Star Wars, like the one that he his passion was in the most. So I feel like this is very much like his Star Wars.
Despite the fact that Peter would probably say to the contrary, he did enjoy this film very much. He just has some issues with it that, of course, are very specific to Peter Martinez. Also, it happened to be a Spielberg film, so contractually speaking, he can't say out loud that he liked it. So we have to say, is it really? I don't think it's insane. It's pretty much the standard bearer for the entirety of this show. So,
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Should I go on to the next one?
Can I talk about before you begin?
No.
Okay. Can I talk about my last one that I have on my top 10?
Are you trying to leave early?
No.
Well, can we get to it? I still have like a couple of mine left. They have like at least 2 other, and Peter still has 4 movies left. Can we wait until we get to the final one?
All right.
Was it connected to this in any way?
Oh my god.
Oh god, we have competing cats now.
Tessie, come here.
Oh my god.
Get over here. She doesn't listen.
Neither's this one, but she's more of a willing participant.
Oh jeez, gosh.
But honestly, time has passed so much that in the time span of doing the podcast, I have 2 cats.
Yeah.
I have 2, Peter. I have 2. All right.
The superior species.
Take that, Tootsie.
Well, Tootsie's so great, another one isn't needed.
Can I move on?
Maybe.
All right, so, and speaking of the great masters like Spielberg and Scorsese, Miyazaki is next. Boy and the Heron.
What a surprise!
What a surprise indeed. Not really at all. I didn't advertise it would be a surprise. These are pretty much all about expected if you know me. This in a lot of ways is Miyazaki's Fabelmans. So we all know where that's going. Because we all know where I've been. This is
where
really,
have you been?
I just said we all know. Anyway, this film is one of the strangest things I've seen, and also the strangest combination of stories and movies put together, but also very Miyazaki. I understand people watching this and not vibing with it. I did. Each time I saw it, I vibed with it more. And I think like I just really thought it was a beautiful film, especially with what Miyazaki was trying to communicate with this, with the story, what he was trying to tell everyone. How do you live? Question mark. Basically, not like how to live, but how do we live? These are the questions that he really has been like asking himself his entire career, his entire life, in the same way that Marty Scorsese, went head on with the themes that he's been chasing his entire career with Flower Moon, the same way Spielberg did with Fabelmans. It's just, to me, just one of the most beautiful films I've seen. And I think it's not an easy film to watch. You got to lean in and you got to like interact with the text to do it. So that's me. Boy and the Heron. And since I already mentioned it, we'll go to the next one, which is the next Spielberg movie, The Fabelmans. We all saw this one coming. Go ahead, Peter, get out of your system. I'll wait. Okay, great. That's it. That's all I was going to say. We all know this film means a lot to me personally because it, to me, comes from my favorite filmmaker, but it also kind of revealed just how much we had personally in common, from a childhood to our thoughts and to the way that we view life, to the way that we view film. I think it's one of the best showcases for the power of film itself in our lives. It's a damn good, entertaining film in and of itself as well. Gabriel LaBelle delivers it. So does everybody else in the movie, including Michelle Williams. Ultimately, a story of forgiveness that I thought was just beautiful, beautiful stuff to watch. So that's it. Peter, you're next. Speaking of throwing tantrums, right? I believe you accused somebody else of throwing tantrums. I feel like what you just did qualified as throwing a tantrum.
I'm not allowed to go to the bathroom? You want to control when I piss and when I don't piss?
That is not what you communicated, bitch. That's not what you said, okay?
You
we all knew you
bladder?
Were walking off. No, you were like rolling your eyes and sighing that, of course, I included the Fabelmans, and nobody else in this group would even think twice to consider it. I get it. I get the point.
Peter, you're allowed to use the restroom.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I did. Apparently, I need permission, but
that's not what just happened. Clearly, we all have eyes. We all have ears. We heard and we saw what just happened.
When you gotta go, you gotta go, man.
You gotta
go. Do I have to threaten you with a Fabelman's audio commentary? Because we can go ahead and subject all of you to that.
Just remember, you're the one making threats. Admittedly.
We have the tapes. I finished a sentence. I didn't say threaten you with violence. At no point
said, do I have to threaten you?
Peter,
were those
get
not the words?
To your next couple of films. Let's go. Let's go. Stop wasting our times. We actually have to we have the rest of the day. Come on, let's go. Hurry up. We need to get through this. Next movie.
Say the words.
What?
Did you say the words, do I have to threaten you? Yes or no?
Can we please move on?
I'm going to take that as yes.
You can take it however way you want it. I don't give a fuck. Go to the next movie.
Godzilla -1.
Okay. Cool.
Do I
next
name
movie.
The rest? Next movie.
Go ahead. Yeah. Go.
Next movie. Poor Things.
Really? Wow.
Wow. Okay.
Fucking surprised about that one.
Yeah. Why?
No, I think he was being sarcastic.
Oh, okay.
You couldn't detect that in his voice?
No. Good job, Kyle. Okay, next one. Oppenheimer. Oh, do you need to use the restroom? It won Best Picture. That's all. That's all. Best Director. Made all the money in the world. I'm just saying, I'm not crazy to include it.
You just know, twisting the knife in it. I just like, man, do you have any idea for the longest time how much I've dreamed of having one of my favorite movies of a year win Best Picture? Has not happened one time, obviously, and yet somehow you have had it two times in this 3 times with Parasite, Oppenheimer, and Everything Everywhere. It's like, what is going on?
Actually,
Whoa.
Alexis, to be fair,
Calm thine tits.
Alexis, to be fair, one of your favorites did win Best Picture. I mean, I'll be up for a short
5 minutes.
5 minutes. But it did win.
What's so funny is if you had died in those following minutes, you would have died so happy. But then you lived. And you got to see the tragedy.
It just now occurred to me. Jesus Christ. Oh, God. Oppenheimer. Oh, okay.
Oppenheimer style.
I should just... Oh, God. Godzilla -1 is a fucking amazing movie. I can't believe Kyle didn't watch it. Poor
Kyle hasn't
Things.
seen it?
No, he didn't. No.
Wait, what?
Have you seen Godzilla -1? I'm guessing that's a no.
He said
Okay.
no.
Okay, so I can't see his face. Anyway, it would have been on your list if you would have seen it. I'm
Oh,
making
yeah,
Guarantee
guess.
it. I guarantee
For
making
it.
sure,
that
it
guess
would have
right
been on
now.
my list. Yeah, I
Okay.
love that shit. I haven't seen either that one or Godzilla versus Kong yet.
X-Con.
Poor Things. Fucking beautiful. Perfect movie as well. I mean, we gotta promote Poor Things, right?
Buy now
Good.
at your local Walmart.
Buy it now, yeah. And only in person,
And
I guess.
only- yeah.
Walmart. Unless you order it somewhere else online. Then you can go ahead and get it. So just to mention those, but Oppenheimer is Christopher Nolan's masterpiece. Don't. Please
Oh,
don't.
okay. Oh, okay.
Christopher Nolan's masterpiece. Very happy that it won everything, I guess. But it's a film that every time I watch it, it's just like, that's a perfect movie. And it's his best movie. It really is.
And the thing, it's one of those movies, you could start it at any moment. Like, every scene, I think, grabs you. Like you could be an hour in, and it's one of those movies, it's on the TV, and you're walking by, and you're seeing a scene, and you're like... You got to stop and watch, and now you got to watch it all the way through.
Yeah, I would say it's an easier watch, maybe a more normier watch than some of the other titles I had. But let's just not, address
It
that,
is.
I guess it is. But it's just like
I'm not arguing that.
it's just like,
Of
well, no
course,
wonder
it
it
made
appealed to
900
people.
million.
Yeah.
Of
That
course
being
it-
said, that's a fucking miracle though. No
Yeah.
one thought that was even in the cards.
No.
And
To be
yeah.
fair, I do think that part of the reason why...
Because it's Barbie.
yeah.
Barbie. It was
Yeah.
right in Barbie's coattails. And I love how no one on Team Oppenheimer was like acknowledging the fact that if it wasn't for Barbie, not nearly the same amount of people would have seen Oppenheimer.
Honestly, I not to shade Nolan too much. A part of me kind of feels like he resented the connection between
He did.
Barbie.
He did. And yet, I would say in part why it was so successful
Yeah.
is because of Barbie.
I think without Barbie, maybe 600 mil worldwide.
And that's a big maybe.
And by that wouldn't have been bad at all for a movie.
No,
of
that would have been a
size.
success story.
Yeah.
But
Still would have won a Best Picture.
Yeah. but 900, that's a whole other ballgame. Now he can make whatever movie he wants for whatever price tag for the rest of his fucking life.
Yeah.
Like, he's
he had a hard time to begin with, let's be real.
No,
about that.
but now it's like...
It's guaranteed.
It's like the price tag he can name his price, basically.
Yeah. I still argue, though, it's a joke that it took this long to get him to win an Oscar personally. I'm not a Nolan stan, clearly. I don't think any of the films he did in the last decade were deserving of really much of anything, but I do feel The Dark Knight should have probably won Director and Picture that year.
Yeah, if he were known as Nolan, like the Christopher Nolan, it would have been I think a different story, right? But it came a little too early in his career.
Yeah.
Where they don't. I think that's why a lot of times you'll have actors and actresses and directors where some of the best films they make is early in their career, but they're not known enough, So then like the older ones who haven't gotten shit because the same thing happened to them, they end up losing. It's like a cycle,
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing, like, if we're gonna go into Oppenheimer, like, Robert Downey Jr., like, his early work is phenomenal shit, and then all of a sudden you have, like, that little slog in his career, and then it's about time. Like, he was building momentum. He was really building momentum, with the Chaplin nomination and all that stuff, but then, again, that slog, and then finally he gets some recognition for what he does. I think it's the same way. And going back to Killers of the Flower Moon, like, I feel really bad. I feel really bad, but she really shot herself on the foot. Lily Gladstone with the lead actor nomination instead of supporting.
This is why I'm saying, I think in the future, she's going to be nominated, and she's going to win, and it's going to be one where it's like, maybe she didn't 100% deserve to win, but people are like, she definitely deserved to win in her career.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. Like, I'll be honest, yeah. I think they did that to Scorsese with The Departed.
Yeah.
Of all the wins I would give Scorsese, I don't know if it would be The Departed.
The Departed is a great movie, but here's the thing. If it hadn't been for that, he still wouldn't have a single Oscar.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's why I'm like, I'll take it, right? But, like, I mean, Killers of the Flower Moon definitely more so. I think Silence more so. I think almost every other film.
Irishman. Yeah. Wolf of Wall Street.
Wolf of Wall Street. Oh, come on. Yeah. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Controversial opinion. I don't think Wolf of Wall Street is one of his better ones.
Have you seen King of Comedy?
King of Comedy? No, I've seen.
Have you seen After Hours?
No, I've seen Taxi Driver.
Have you seen Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore?
No.
Go watch those three.
Okay.
Go watch those three. Those are great.
I think his best film is still Taxi Driver.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. But
if I'm being honest, I feel like Flower Moon is like right behind it for me. I love Flower Moon that much.
It's a fantastic film.
Yeah. I look. Recency bias.
I forgot to mention to you guys, a year ago I saw Silence for the first time.
Oh.
Did you get through it?
Oh, I did get through it, surprisingly. Yeah,
okay.
But
it's a lot of Jesus in there.
It is a lot of Jesus in there, but it's a damn good movie. And I could see why you would say, Alexis, that it is Scorsese's
Schindler's List.
I think the cast is great. Andrew Garfield is fantastic. Liam Neeson, oh my god, what the hell?
Garfield probably should have won that year for acting.
But see, this is why I think that film is an easier watch. There is a genuine spark of hope in that film, as far as like faith is concerned. And with Killers of the Flower Moon, it's like
there is no hope. They're screwed.
The rot is to the core, and it is ugly.
Yeah,
and
that's not true. There is hope. There is hope. The end of the movie.
Hope. Yeah, it's not the
end.
Same.
The end of the movie is that the Osage Nation survives. It went on. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's for the Osage,
It's bittersweet. It's
specifically,
more bittersweet.
Yes.
not the wider conversation that he's having.
Right.
That's what I mean.
I will say that if it wasn't for Silence was actually quite pivotal in the Osage Nation allowing Scorsese to do the Flower Moon. Yeah, because they were like, when they heard that he was interested, they were like, I don't know, this gangster guy. But then they watched Silence and they were like, okay.
Oh, he can.
Yeah.
He's tackled religion before with Last Temptation of Christ.
That film, I think, still gets a bad rap because of the controversy, right? Like, it just, like...
It is...
That was part of, like, the more religious backlash at the time, you know, when they would...
Last Temptation is a fantastic movie. Probably in my top 5 favorite Scorsese films.
Did I send you the link, Alexis Soto? They're releasing a...
I did. I saw
Martin
it. I saw
Scorsese 3-pack, right?
I saw it.
Yeah.
With Last Temptation, Kundun, and then also Silence, which, interestingly enough, I didn't realize it until there was a theme across all three of them, but the three of those films are among probably his most underappreciated work.
Yeah.
All religious themed.
Very deeply religious films, yeah.
But yeah, Last Temptation is... stellar film. I mean, it to make me watch a movie with David Bowie in it as Pontius Pilate and ignore the fact that it's David Bowie, just like it is a remarkable feat on itself. It is a film that I'm like saying this is probably the quintessential Jesus film.
Well, hold on there now. He
Until
ain't done with Jesus yet.
No, he isn't.
He's
I'm
not
very
done.
Much interested.
And on that note, I gotta say, like, it's no accident that with Scorsese, Spielberg, and Miyazaki, their more recent films are on this list because there's just something about, I feel like in some way, it may not appear on the surface, but all three of those films I think are in conversation with each other. I would also include Wim Wenders' recent movie, Perfect Days. They're all by filmmakers who are at the end of their careers. And I feel like because there's such an open dialogue between all four of those films, for me anyway, it really does enhance all of them for me. All right.
Sorry.
Shall we?
What you said was nothing to sneeze at.
Yeah. Well, it didn't feel that way, apparently. Let's get on with it. Last one for me. What may be my favorite Disney movie, Luca. Just putting it out there. I just got back from watching this. Yeah, it might. I'm gonna put it out there right now. I just got back from watching this movie twice in the theater this past week. Which, by the way, I'm taking notes. Nobody else in this group fucking gave a fuck to bother watching in theaters. Not David, because apparently I'm out of money. Whatever. Alexis didn't go watch this. You two didn't care to go watch this movie. It's like, but hey, when it came to Turning Red, like, let's go have a party. But when it came to this movie, crickets.
You clearly have a thing for Italians.
Whatever. Watching this movie again was so much fun. It is a perfect movie. Like, this is one of those films where I'm like, every line of dialogue, I could probably just like go along with it. The crowd was eating it up. Look, it is just a simple story of friendship and the beauty in that, and it makes you long for a simpler time. That being said, while nobody else gave a shit to go watch it, I feel like this one was like universally beloved, by our group especially. I did go back and listen to our initial review from a few years ago, Peter. I think you said that you adored this movie. It's a simple film. After you attacked
me, but yeah.
Hey, I got to. Contractually, obligations, right? But, dude, this movie just, like, messes me up. I love it. It messes me up. I will always, like, just go back to watching this movie. And not only is it my favorite Pixar film, but I'm going to say it, my favorite Disney movie. Just putting it out there. It just, there it is.
It's your favorite Pixar?
Yeah.
Entirely.
He put Disney. Favorite Disney movie.
I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, it's my opinion. You don't have to agree
It's
with
very
it.
clearly your opinion, yes.
I don't understand why
Like,
this is
no
making
one's arguing that it
shockwaves.
isn't. It's a big statement. I don't know.
I mean, just say you don't get it, and then we can just move on. Just like, don't. Why you got to dance around it? It's like on the last podcast, it became known to me that Alexis, because you never know what she watches and what she does, became very clear that she did see Fablemans, but she doesn't talk about it. And then I asked her, "Oh, so you have seen it?" And then she was trying to dance around it. "Oh, you don't care for it. Just say it so we can move on. Just be clear about it." Peter didn't care for it either. Just say how you feel, and then let's move on. Okay? Did I take it personally? We all know the answer to that question.
Well, there
we
we
all
go.
know the
Okay,
answer to
there
that
we
question.
go.
We don't gotta
Maybe
belabor
look
the point.
within and
Look, there's no need to look within when it's so obvious to everybody with an eye. Like we all know what it is.
You is treating you the same. Maybe look within and go like, maybe there's a reason for that. I don't know.
Yeah, well,
I don't care much for Job.
okay. We got 2 more to go. 2 more movies between you two.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean 1 apiece.
Oh, okay.
What's your last movie?
This one, honestly, the last one was really tough. I kept going back and forth with like 3 other films. It's tough because it's like 5 fucking years. I ended up going with this because I thought, why the fuck not? Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
I hate you so much because every time I want to destroy you, you say something and it's like, wow. Thank you for putting this movie on this list. I feel like people have just forgotten. I don't know what it was. I'm thinking because it just came out at a time when Marvel was just like, eh. But then also immediately
but it was also
after,
fucking awesome. Yeah.
Immediately afterward, we had Spider-Verse, and it kind of just like, it sucked all the oxygen out of the room. But it's like, this movie is kind of perfect. For me, it's still the best MCU movie. Well, that and Guardians 2. Like, it's like neck and neck for me. But it's just like, I don't understand how people don't talk about this as like one of the best of the year. It was fucking perfect. James Gunn, like his best directed movie too.
I just want to put on record, I haven't forgotten about this movie.
I didn't mean you, Kyle. I didn't mean you.
But the thing is that because we haven't gotten to our top 10 of 2023 yet.
I wonder why.
But yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is where I'm calling it quits on the MCU.
Yeah.
Is there anything in the horizon that's even exciting?
Only one. Deadpool.
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks good, but I'm not necessarily
We're not
excited.
expecting a great movie. Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't care about the MCU implications. My whole thing is if I see a trailer and it looks like a good movie,
I'll go watch it.
I'll go watch a good movie. But like as far as the implications related to the MCU and all,
I think all of us stopped caring about the MCU before this movie even came out.
Yeah. Like the only thing that I was like looking forward to after post Endgame was Guardians Volume 3.
That was it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, and honestly, with this and Love and Thunder, I feel like those movies close out all the loose threads.
Yeah, and we're good. We're good. That's it. We don't need to go back to the MCU. But this movie is just like this. I also saw 5 times in theaters, and I'm like, every time it was like, fuck, this movie's amazing. I don't understand. And the ending. No Sleep Till Brooklyn, Creep, just those sequences, everything with
Run Faster,
the High Evolutionary,
brother,
a fantastic villain. Yeah.
God damn, every
dude,
part of this
he's
movie
so
is great.
freaking creepy. Probably the saddest scene in all of the MCU and comic book movies in general is just, it's really and the fact that you feel this way over inserted CG characters just makes it that much more amplified, and it feels so real, so organic. And the way that James Gunn is able to display that perfectly just shows what kind of a crafter and auteur he is. So I don't know. It's great. The 3 movies. I respect that the first person who got to drop an F-bomb in a MCU movie is not Sean Levy, but James Gunn.
Yeah. All right.
So.
Kyle, you're last. Final
Okay,
movie.
my last in my top in my 10 movies. Yes, I said 10. 10 altogether. I think it's not. I think it is not a surprise or a shock of what I go through. I have severe depression. I have severe anxiety, and like movies. Even still to this day, like I think 2023. I feel like this downgrade of morale in terms of where I am, because the thing is that the way that students and parent dynamics are these days, and just the way that thing that really shifted my morale on my profession. But the thing is that like there are movies that help you along the way and help you remind you that life is indeed beautiful. Life is indeed worth living. It doesn't matter how grand or how small the context of what you're going through in life is. And I feel like Disney and Pixar's Soul.
Okay.
Really?
helps
with that aspect.
Couple of things to note of. Real quick. Everybody had, except for Peter, had a Pixar film on their list, but they were all different. So Kyle just had Soul. I had Luca. David had Turning Red. And Alexis had Elemental.
Disney. Wait, is that Pixar?
It is. They're all there. Yeah, Pixar.
Oh, I thought that was Disney.
No, Turning Red is Pixar, and then Alexis had Elemental. So everybody had a Pixar film except for you, Peter.
I guess I ran out of Pixar films.
Yeah. Interesting.
But Soul, it just no pun intended. I guess pun intended. It's got a lot of soul.
Real quick for clarification point, Mr. Lira, Soul is your favorite of all of these?
No.
Okay,
again, it's like unranked.
Uh-huh. Is there one that's your favorite?
One?
Uh-huh.
That's my favorite.
If you can't pick, forget about it. Just go ahead and talk about Soul.
Okay. But Soul, like just the whole thesis of living life is beautiful enough. Enjoy the little things in life.
Yeah.
I think that really spoke to me. And I feel like it because again, like I have severe depression, I have anxiety. I've been to therapy, I've done all that stuff to help me with my mental health. But seeing this movie, and seeing it in its context, like life is beautiful and worth living. It doesn't matter how big or small it is. It's absolutely amazing. The vibrant colors that life is, the different dynamics that you have with different people, the relationships that you have. Mm-hmm. I think that it is a film that speaks to that kind of mentality when it comes to like mental illnesses, mental health. And it's not even tackling mental health. It's just talking about how life is beautiful, and it can be. Life has, for lack of a better word, soul,
Yeah.
And it feels grand. And I think that this is it's the best Pixar movie for me, at least in a while. and I remember us watching it on I think it was like Christmas Day when it dropped, like Christmas Eve night, I guess Christmas Day.
Yeah.
And we're watching it over Zoom.
2020.
Over 2020 lockdown and all that stuff, baby. But I remember watching this and just like, wow, just like I felt good, and my brain felt seen when watching this. Just like it spoke to me, especially in a time where we just ended the first year of COVID, and it really spoke to me on a certain, on that time. And let's not put in, let's put an asterisk around that, because of COVID, it did impact a lot of people. And that year I really tackled, because there was nothing else to do. I really tackled my mental health and just tried to deal with that. And so I feel like Soul spoke to me in that way, where just like life is something worth living. And I feel like that really exemplified the role in that film for me. And I think like Trent Reznor's score with Atticus Ross, just like it became a soundtrack of everything that is beautiful in life. And I can't see it going any other way. It's just it's an absolutely beautiful film, and that I look fondly at back, even today. So, Soul.
And there we have it, ladies and gentlemen. We have reached the end of our podcast at long last. Our top 10 films of the 2020s so far. So far.
You should so far. ...
That's right, because we got a couple more years to go for this decade. It has been an especially strong decade in film so far. I would go out and say that this kind of already halfway through kicks the last decade's ass. I mean, for me personally, I found so many movies, and I think so many more, that went unmentioned. You could literally have a good like top 30 to top 40 movies of these last 4 to 5 years, and be very, very much well off. Well, thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Peter, for making yourselves available to be here on this show. I'm sure our audience appreciates that. As far as our audience is concerned, thank you so much for staying tuned. Stay under our red spotlight for more content and more every single Sunday. And we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.